is prepared today. How about that? She's on time. She remembered her water bottle. The microphone's turned on. A whole new world, some might say. Come on in, come on in. Neuroped's dad first comment. Morning all. I'm going to go out on a limb and answer her question. No, whatever it is does not survive the gender swap. You said the theme of the stream. That's right. Let's just jump right into it, okay? I'm gonna give you the rundown of what you're walking in on, okay? We'll welcome you off. We'll get right into it, okay? You're here with me, Lauren, on another Dadvocate stream, where we tend to talk about things like relationships, parenting, co-parenting, family court, dating and marriage, all things that never change, and we will always argue about them. I think it's fun. And another thing that I think is fun is that we try to keep this stream audio only friendly, meaning you should be able to listen to it like a podcast. You shouldn't be visually reliant, just glued to your screen, staring at it. Hang out with us and listen to these wild stories and reactions while you're walking around at the warehouse, on your job site, doing some choring, taking your dog for a walk, or literally just sitting on the couch recovering from one of these hellish colds that is already upon us. Who knows? Either way, hopefully it makes your day a little bit brighter. We try to have some fun. We try to figure things out, learn some lessons, find some key takeaways, chew a little bit on some nuance, dive into a meaty nuance sandwich once in a while around here. That's just a thing that we like to do. So feel free to walk around, turn the screen off. If I need you to see something, I will let you know. But otherwise, I will visually describe everything, read everything on screen if need be. Raining AF here. Wish I could walk the dog. My husband actually did the dog walking this morning. I'm always kind of torn on it. I feel like we're at this weird stage right now in our dog walking where we have to kind of walk the dogs separate because we have one almost 13-year-old chocolate lab mutt rescue, and then we have a barely over 1-year-old mutt rescue. And I'm sure you can imagine slightly different paces. For being both 100-pound dogs, very different paces. So usually since my husband has to get out of here early, I'll just ask him to take the older boy so I can take the youthful tramp out for a much more active run through town, so to say. But I'm just glad our old boy's still getting out there. And in fact, I'll have the oldest take him. My youngest is not quite old enough to go take the dog on her own, but he can walk the older one when we go, which is nice. Also, I will never stop reminding you guys, getting a dog and taking your dog for a walk is, in my opinion, still to this day, one of the best ways to meet people. Okay? Like, whether it be you're looking for friendships or romantic relationships, getting a dog and walking it, number one best advice. So, I mentioned it earlier, but today's theme of the stream is double standards and does it survive the gender swap test? Basically, we are well aware that things that are sometimes acceptable for one gender are not acceptable for the other occasionally. This can go both ways. Let's take expecting the other sex to pay for the first date. We know who that is. We know who that refers to. That's a double standard, right? One that we can easily recognize, whether you justify it or not. Another could be the way that men are often praised for prolific nature in the bedroom, so to say, their higher body counts, whereas women are deeply, deeply shamed for their high body counts. And so what I really want to hone in on, don't worry, I will get to that super chat, I will. I'm getting better at staying on track and then going back to things. I'm getting slightly better. And then I'm like, oh shoot, where was the track that I was just on? What I want to focus on in this stream is looking at things that we can kind of recognize are really only okay for one gender, and asking ourselves, if we put it through the gender swap test and it fails, was it even an appropriate behavior to begin with? Right? So we'll go through some various different things here. I've pulled stories, situations, experiences from all sorts of pools of the internet. We got a little bit of TikTok, a little bit of Instagram, some Facebook video action, and even the darkest dredges of the internet, some subreddit action. Okay? So let me take a little sippy sip. You're still a golden retriever, don't lie. No, I have some kind of cat energy. Probably Siamese cat energy, but maybe calico cat energy with a little bit of black cat. Whatever like a cat mutt is. I would say I have more cat energy than dog energy, but a little bit of both. Honestly, you're right. I'm a little bit too aggressive of a jock to not have dog energy. Being nude in public doesn't survive the gender swap test. Honestly, I've never been to one. I have no interest in it, to be honest. But from what I understand, nude beaches are like extremely relaxed and actually more highly frequented by men. Neuroped's dad. Oh yeah, I gotta read the other one. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, barbecue for the win. Thank you for a generous super chat. Good evening, folks. Soon finished yesterday's stream. You got really excited with that super chat, but I figured it out. Neuroped's dad, so good to see you again. Thank you for the super chat. Just finished a story about Cormac McCarthy's secret muse. He was 47 when he met her at 16. She was a foster care runaway. See the BBC News site. That's so crazy you say that, actually, because I was just talking to my husband about how, like, it's been so common throughout history for, I don't exactly know who Cormac McCarthy is, but men of status to actually, like, use their lover's muse inspiration for, like, various things, or just, like, outright stole their ideas and used it. So he's an American author. What are his book titles? Look like romance novels for men, don't they? And there's like horses. This like when Ken was like, I just found out the patriarchy isn't even all about horses, so I don't even care anymore. That's yep, great for quiet sunrise walks. Wait, you read while walking? That sounds difficult. So yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds about Bukowski to me. Like, hasn't every American male author found, like, I mean, okay, the being young thing, yeah, we don't like that. Sure enough, here's the Vanity Fair. His secret muse breaks her silence after half a century. Oh, but she, like, sounds like she was down. She was down to clown. I loved him. He was my safety. That's her? Okay. The craziest love story in literary history. Oh my god, I can't get into this. Please don't send me stuff that is gonna try to, like, sell me on how sometimes it's okay for 16-year-olds to bone 47-year-olds. Like, you know, fine. I'll admit that maybe there's been historically, like, that 0.54% of these situations that turned out okay. God damn it, if I absolutely have to, like, yeah, I bet you 0.00027% of these girls come out pretty untraumatized. Maybe. I'm still not happy about it. Okay. Oh God, what in the fucking Woody Allen? But you know what? I'm sure his books are great. Okay. Does it survive the gender swap test though? Absolutely. In the You kidding me? In the gender swap test, a 16-year-old boy marries a 47-year-old artist. He's a legend. While I do think an 18-year-old should be able to bang whoever she wants, nobody looks at a 47-year-old with a T and says that. Dude, look, if she was 18, I would have a different opinion, Girthy, to be honest. If she was 18, I literally just said this in another stream. When you're an adult, you can go a 47-year-old man if you want to. If you can enlist in the army, you can go bone elders. Like, that's fine. Thank you so much for the dono, Ben. Thank you so much for the $2. I really appreciate that. Hag-maxing, cougar hunting, whatever you want to call it. You have the emotional intelligence and freedom and legality to do so. You know what I mean? Like, go for it. As long as you're not hurting anybody, as long as this man is not, like, has dementia actively, as long as it's not elder abuse, go for it. But when you're 16, it's because they're GROOM'd. See, yeah, and that's where it's also, this is something interesting, is like, I just read this. I didn't want to get too tangential, but I heard someone refer to, like, well, yes, of course adults can be groomed. And I was like, I mean, I guess it depends on, like, the definition that you're working with. But when they're referring to adults, they're referring to anybody who's, like, significantly disenfranchised in a way, if that makes sense. So, like, a homeless woman could be groomed. A man who is, like, depleted of, like, mental sanity could be groomed and taken advantage of. So I get what people are saying. But it's also like, yeah, if you do see an 18-year-old, like a fresh 18-year-old suddenly start dating a 47-year-old, you do kind of have to ask, like, how long has this been going on? The one good thing George Bush did was made it illegal for any Americans, even overseas, to date below 18. Did he do that? Because there's still several states, including my own, where the legal age is 16. So, I don't know if he accomplished that, but also, depending on which George Bush you're talking about, also a great painter. Okay, let's jump into it. Our theme of the stream: double standards and does it pass the gender swap test? I'm going to keep the sound off because we got some licensed music. But what we have on screen for the visual only gang is just a woman, I would say. Nothing really phenomenal. Just her kind of lip syncing to a song with some words over screen. But it's the words that are important. The words on screen read, "When God keeps sending you dumb men, so you send him one back." Does it survive the gender swap? So in order to truly test this one, we have to imagine a man lying in bed, lip syncing to, I don't know, OAR. And the text overlay reads, "When God keeps sending you dumb women, so you send him one back." To answer the comment, so murder, ding, ding, ding. You get it. So the joke is that these men are undateable, so you have the right to commit homicide on them. It's okay, guys. I'll give you a minute to finish laughing. I know. It's a knee slapper. Yeah, what's crazy is I had to find this because it was like, when I first saw this as a format, It was an Instagram reel, and you know how Instagram does that thing where right when you want to go look at it, it just magically disappears. But I knew the girlies would love this because the one that I saw had like 630,000 likes or something. So I knew that people were going to copy paste this trend. So I just typed it in. I found a good couple. That was just one that I could show you. We could try typing in when God sends you a dumb woman, but it'll probably be stuff like when God sends you a dumb woman so you wife her up and keep her for 20 years. Oh no. Okay. You know what? They did it. They did do it, though. They did. One last thing. Oh, the Protect Act. I'll have to look that up. But that's good to know. Thank you, Girthy. And then Sam, I think your super chat's about to pop up. Boop! If women mature sooner than men, then isn't it our word for them to have... I mean, if you want to argue that, I don't know. I would not say so, no. Personally. Let's see how the comments go for this fella. Obviously, this one didn't exactly pop off. I just stumbled upon it. Oh, wow. Okay. The women be laughing. These are all women. This is a good idea. Crash out final boss. This just gave me the ick so bad. Okay, so people seem to recognize it's a joke. So, does it survive the gender swap test? Maybe a little, actually. It seems so. Yeah, that's funny, though. This is exactly what I said was gonna... Okay, I guess this is not the same as dumb. Goofy. When God sends you a goofy, fine AF female with the attitude of a gremlin to ruin your life. See, you know, I'm so sick of everybody saying, like, men just want big titty bitches with a big ass and hourglass figure. Like, they just want you to be a silly goose who notices when they do hard things. Like, I'm not trying to simplify men or, like, monolith you or anything like that, but, like, in my experience, that really is what most dudes want, is just a goofy, fine little gremlin baddie. And fine is such a subjective term, too. Like, I know a lot of you are going to be like, see, you said fine, so you're admitting that you have to be super mega hot for guys to like you. Like, just take regular walks. And don't eat like a total raccoon all the time. You'll be good. Gremlins are the homies. Gremlin squad, rise up. Okay. All right, give me a second because we're switching from TikTok world to Instagram world. So, oh God, hold on. I gotta log in. It's going to be annoying if I don't log in. The Dadvocate. IG. It's not about the size of titties on your chest, but the size of titties in your heart. Honestly, I've literally never heard anything more true in my life. Doom for Zombies, thank you so much for swinging by. Definitely come back and watch it later. I'll still read your comments. I'll still read the later comments. Honestly, sometimes the later comments are easier to read than the live comments. Think about it. Men are easy pets to keep. Head pats, cuddles, affection, and the love for life. I don't know how much dudes appreciate being referred to as easy pets to keep, but I know what you're trying to say. It is really funny. I found how, like, some men really hate the, like, any kind of men or dogs comparison, even when it's positive. Like, I've had men in my own audience get pissed at me for saying, like, golden retriever types because they're like, we're not dogs! We're not, and it's like, okay, choose your battles, fellas. Like, trust me, I'm fighting. I pick a lot of battles. Take it from a battle picker, you still can't fight them all. You just can't. You know what I mean? The golden retrievers thing, yes, we're calling you a dog, but it's in a cute way. Okay? It's like when you guys say we're like cats. As long as you're not saying we're catty, we tend to think it's cutie patootie. Is that fair? I just want to even this out a little bit. Okay, I think I've made it pretty and presentable. I just got to refresh this so that I can pause it immediately and be ready for you. Ta-da! I work so hard. Okay. All right. Our next submission for does it survive the gender swap?
Date night idea for the fellas. You take her out and do the personality you did back when you were trying to earn her. Date.
Okay. So in order for this to be understood through the gender swap test, what we need to visualize is a man just in his kitchen filming and goes, hey ladies, date night idea. You simply go out with your man and dress as attractive as you did when you were trying to earn him. Does it survive the gender swap? Keep wearing, all that stuff that you say you have to wear for dates, all the lashes, the extensions, the foundation, the primer, the eyeliner, the eyeshadow set, the fake nails, the pedicure, the outfit. Just keep doing that all the time because you did that in the beginning. Why would you ever stop even after you get married and are trying to get comfortable and settle down? Why would you ever stop? Now listen, I've actually given similar advice, to be fair. It's just the phrasing on this. You know what I mean? You know how sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it? Like I have said before that just because you get married doesn't mean you stop putting in effort. Like you have to keep dating each other. But at the same time, listen, we can't always be held to the same standard of how we courted someone when maybe we were still living with our parents and had more disposable income, or before children, or before we got super saturated in our jobs and more responsibilities befell us. Okay, when I first started dating TJ 10 years ago, at the time I was teaching video game design and web design as an adjunct professor at a college. Fun fact, some of you have asked about my background. That's it. And so I tried to impress this man by building an entire video game where his son is the main character and they run around collecting different coins of their different ethnicities and backgrounds to honor both this man I was trying to court and this man's ex who helped spawn this child, because I respected all of their various ethnicities and cultures so much. And you travel through all of the different worlds of all of the biggest fandoms that they had at that time. And then when you reach the very end, and there's secret levels and stuff too. There's this big screen about how much I love and respect them. And I did that after it's a year and a half in. I'm never gonna have the time again to do something like that. I f***ed myself. If I was held to that same standard oh God. Okay. I have this other tradition that I do. My first official Christmas with TJ and his son. I swear I'll read these super chats. I promise I will. I made a comic book, and this is actually a very iconic moment, which is when TJ and I knew for sure we would marry each other. But our first Christmas together, completely unbeknownst to either of us, we had no idea. We made each other comic books about each other. Come on, that's the person that you have to marry. And so I've tried to keep up the tradition. So every year, and I have to get started on it soon, I might do some live draws with the patrons and YouTube members where you guys can just hang out with me in the office while I illustrate and write it. But every year I've done the Christmas comic, and every year it gets harder and harder to find the time, especially time away from them. So there's still like the element of surprise. They're not just like watching me do it. You know, it's like so much harder than than your average surprise task. Okay, but yeah, I just had to share some adorable lore. Okay, let me read these super chats. Freedom Fiend, thank you so much. You are so kind. I appreciate it. In fairness, I'm not sure it's a fair comparison. One shouldn't have to beautify themselves constantly, but faking a personality for a date is good. Yeah, I agree. But kind of comparable, but I agree. Not fully the same, and I also felt that kind of like this isn't a perfect comparison even while I was saying it. Kirthi, is it a bad idea to tell my girl if you really loved me, you wouldn't sag? Yes, that is a very, very bad idea. Like, you could die. I'm not saying that, I'm not condoning any violence against you, but I'm just saying, like, you could die. You might not make it out alive. Samantha, thank you so much. Says, hubby and I do not have time to date each other with the stage 4 Velcro baby. Maybe one day when the baby is more independent. Dude, I feel that. It took, like, between 2 and 3 years after my daughter was born for my husband and I to go on our first date without any kids. And it took like even longer than that to go on our first like overnight without the kids. It's so hard. Okay. So yes, let's just like show some appreciation to the fact that like every single dating advice, dating advisor, dating coach will tell you, you have to date your spouse. You have to date your spouse. But like, we need to appreciate the gravity of how hard it is. Like, the paying for it, hard enough. Okay, budgeting for anything in this economy, difficult. But the time piece, that's the hard part, is like, because the dating is so much more expensive. It's already expensive to go out and treat yourself and tip if you're in that country. But then you also have to like either pay a babysitter or like find a family member. And like, I don't know if I've mentioned this to you guys, and I don't know how many of you guys are in our situation. Our closest family member is 250 miles away, okay? It's all of our childcare is like pretty much bought and paid for. No, we have quite a good community at this point of friends and fellow moms, and you guys know I step in for my fellow moms to help out as well, but it's tough. Okay. But yeah, this one, as far as like how it did, we got 106,000 likes. Yeah, that one did sort of pop off, we got to admit. The girlies loved it. I just don't think it would survive the gender swap test, you know? I just don't think it would make it. All right, this one. What we have in this video is somebody's mom and dad chilling on the couch, and it reads, "Things my mom has said that my dad could never say."
Things your mother has said to me that I could never say to her.
Okay.
You ready for this?
Yeah. All right.
I wrote it down. Ready? Okay.
Get your glasses.
All right. Okay, ready?
I'm ready.
Change your pants before we leave. Your ass is sagging. These are actual. I write them down. Number 2.
Oh my God. Would that ever survive the gender swap test? Oh my God. What's so funny too is like I've actually made a joke on that before in my series when me and TJ have done if my husband and I acted like each other. And there's this one where like I come down the stairs and I'm like, "Okay, I'm ready." And he's like, "That's what you're going out in?" "No, it's fine. If that's what you like." And it's like true that we women have no issue just being like, "Oh, that's an outfit that you thought would look good." But like if a man said that to us, we would cry. We would cry for hours. We would be falling down the wall, snot bubble forming, like peeing our pants crying over that, dude.
2, fix your hair. You look like an axe murderer. That's terrible. Number 3.
Dude, that is also crazy how like easily women are able to just say to men like, You look like one of the worst possible things a man could ever be. Teehee. Yeah, that's definitely not something that we can really flip around on a woman. Saying a woman looks like anything is already a cardinal sin.
Try again.
I love how many commenters are like, nah, because we really need to hear when our ass is sagging. It's funny, too, because this is one of those things where, like I said, we need to kind of critically assess the nuance of, like, is there a reason that this joke exists for one sex and not the other? And to be fair, there is more of an issue with men's clothing where there is, like, some sag, but I have to tell you guys, like, that's true with women's clothes, too. Like, there's women's clothing that truly will not flatter the behind, okay? So, technically it is something that you could be in a position of saying to your female spouse. But should you? Would you? Not sure.
I'm not going out with you looking like that.
Remember, you were wearing all gray.
Yeah, right. Ready? Next one. This one is my favorite. Ready? Fix your shirt so your belly isn't sticking out.
Oh, what, isn't this always the thing that I always call out right after women are mean to their spouses? They always, like, show them, like, some, like, quick affection, like, and it's like what they think it makes up for it. That's like a classic woman-coded move. Also, the giggle when we do something wrong or toxic and we just, like, try to giggle it off. Oh my gosh. Put your fat ass belly away. But seriously, it's gross. Don't we do that all the time? Goodness gracious.
I don't have a belly. All these years I'm doing sit-ups, push-ups. I don't have a belly. Things your mother...
So I think we've kind of agreed in the chat that some of these things survive the gender swap. It seems like kind of an unspoken male code here that, like, if your wife tells you your outfit looks like shit, she's probably right. And that's, like, something that both sexes agree on. Is that true? Did I learn something? Have I learned of, like, one of the few bridges that exist? Is that bro code? Is that, like, your wife knows and you should listen on that one? Like, as long as she's saying it nicely. I'll be honest, there's been a couple times where I've questioned TJ's choices, but, like, okay, tell me if I'm valid on this one. We were going to a wedding, and he was wearing a white button-up and a purple tie-dye Cheshire Cat t-shirt underneath. And I had suggested maybe he should wear a white t-shirt underneath. And he was like, oh, I don't care. And I was like, I usually don't care either. But I was like, I did get him to change. I did. Trust me, we love the purple and pink tie-dye Cheshire cat shirt. We do love it. It is such an iconic, so on-brand design for TJ. But, like, I feel like it has to be one or the other. We're either doing the white button-up or you and I are showing up in the most audacious purple and pink suits with, like, the shirt is, like, see-through. Like, you can fully see the shirt through the pink or purple button-up. Is that fair? Like, we have to pick a lane. Everyone's like, let your freak flag fly. If you were... Okay, what if you were, like, the groom? And this is, like... I forgot what a groomsman was called for a second. I almost said grooms bro. And you were a grooms bro. Would you be mad if your groomsman was wearing a white button-up with, like, a very vivid graphic t-shirt underneath? Or do guys truly not care about that stuff? I think it's white only matters if you're a woman. I think dudes are perfectly allowed to wear white. At least, like, a white button-up, I think. What happened to TJ Scarf? He still wears it. I think maybe he just, like, was too hot in the house during the streams and just wasn't wearing it That's interesting. I'm so curious what you guys have to think about the white button-up graphic tee. Is the Dadvocate wrong? Do we need to cancel the Dadvocate for stifling her husband and being a toxic woman? Decide now. I'm not above you know what? It's funny too, because it's also after the Cheshire Cat thing, I was like, I actually did come to the same conclusion, and I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna say nothing about what TJ wears anymore, because like, who am I? If he wants to like do whatever, I don't care. Like, I would hate it if someone judged me. So we were going to my brand new, beautiful, perfect angel baby niece's baptism, where TJ was asked to be the godfather. And he chose to wear like a button-up shirt that's like a silly, it has multiple different like types of cats all over it. And I somehow knew, I was getting ready the morning of this baptism, and I was like, I know my husband is going to wear something crazy audacious to this like nice, upbeat, like upscale, yuppie Catholic church. I know he's going to, and I ain't gonna say nothing. And then sure enough, he comes out, and I was like, I knew you were gonna pick that cat shirt. Like, I knew it. And his mom got so mad, and I was just like, this is between y'all and God. Bath of Shushi, I'm so glad you joined us. So, yes, for anybody who was worried that I stifled TJ, I may have on that fateful day, but I have ceased. He does truly let his freak flag fly now. IDC. For our next gender swap test. This one's crazy. I found y'all some crazy stuff today. I'm pretty sure this is, yeah, it's licensed music. So what we have here is a woman just getting her hair done, and there's text overlay that says, when I accidentally forwarded him a screenshot of our chat instead of my bestie, but I didn't panic and added, reread your messages and think about the nonsense you're saying. Does it survive the gender swap? So what we have to do to imagine this is, first of all, does a man even get away with filming himself getting his hair done anyway? Like, is that even like kosher in the male zeitgeist? I certainly don't see it. It's certainly not trendy. Like, I've seen men who do like some variation of like vlogging, but I don't often see men be like, hey, do you mind if I like set this up while you like barber me? First of all, I don't even know if folks are getting away with that. Like, I know a lot of hairstylists who film their male clients and post it to their own Instagrams, and the men might then repost that. Maybe, but I definitely don't think that's as common. But let's imagine that he does, or at least just films himself doing anything around the day. It doesn't really matter, but his text overlay is, when I accidentally forward my girlfriend a screenshot of our chat instead of the bros, but I didn't panic and added, reread your messages and think about the nonsense you're saying. Now, if it's one thing I've learned from, like, the pockets of misogyny that do exist online, it's that as long as there are Andrew Tate fans in the world, there are going to be men who would condone of a male version of this. But as far as the overall population, which, like, far outweighs Andrew Tate fans, overall, this would go completely unaccepted if men were to do this. But this video has 148,290 likes. Some comments include, oh my god, this is a genius bank in memory. I did that with pics of him and was like, look how cute you are, babe. Thank God for the unsend button now. That's actually. She was sending pictures of him to make fun of him. Oh my God, that hurt me, and it didn't even happen to me. So you guys know me. I'm pretty anti-body shaming. I roast a lot of people on my channel pretty often. I consider myself really good at roasting, actually. But one thing that you're not going to find me roasting is like someone's body. At most, when we were doing the dating stream yesterday, I was like, this guy has resting I do jujitsu face, or like something like that, you know what I mean? But not like, ew, look at this guy's mustache, or like, look at how overweight this man is, or anything like that, you know what I mean? And so it's something that I deeply frown upon, you know. But one thing that you can make fun of is absolutely words, behaviors, actions, ideals, beliefs, hypocrisies, right? So it makes more sense if you're like showing a conversation to someone and you're like, what do you think about this? Is this a red flag conversation, right? But if you're literally roasting someone's physical appearance, that's so much worse to me. That is so much worse. Oh, and to answer the question, does Botox filler count as body shaming? It depends on how you're doing it. So if you're trying to actually debate 2 points and you bring up their Botox, but like you're not even talking about anything related to Botox, that's pretty ad hominem. But if you're criticizing their choice to get Botox for whatever reason, if it is relevant or not, I don't necessarily think criticizing someone's choice to get Botox is body shaming. Is that fair? Yes. Especially because Botox is not biological makeup. Yeah, it's not something you can change, right? But, oh yeah, sending someone's picture to the group chat is diabolical. And then to say, look how cute you are, when like you were literally roasting them. And she didn't learn from that. She wasn't like, man, maybe I shouldn't make fun of people's physical appearance because obviously I understand how bad it would hurt their feelings because I don't want to be caught doing it. No, we're not going to learn from that and stop doing it. We're simply going to utilize the unsend button, which doesn't work fully on every app, by the way. Like for certain apps, unsend only works for you, sis. It only unsends from your prerogative. On their end, the message still exists. So bear that in mind for anybody who thinks that the unsend is like a permanent erasure of history. Very unlikely. Oh God. Where is this unsend button? I need to know immediately. You know what? Stay ignorant, girlies. Yeah, they're trying to debate how it works. It's so creepy to watch women, like, figure out how to get away with things here. I sent a screenshot picture on Instagram, sent it to that person, not my sister, and said, "This is my favorite outfit of yours. I saved myself. You're welcome." That's so gross to me. I mean, in a way, like, and I also noticed, like, the narcissism here. I saved myself. Like, they're not even worried about the fact of, like, oh, I just really wanted to spare their feelings. What? Because here's the thing, too, is, like, if you had a normal reason for sending that picture to someone, like, this is the guy that I'm talking to, you wouldn't have to lie. So this is such a self-tell that you feel the need to lie. You know what I mean? Like, whenever any of my girlfriends is talking to a new guy, that's like one of the first things I ask is like, can I see a picture? Like, I'm just curious. Like, it's not because I want to judge what he looks like or anything, honestly. Like, and because 9 times out of 10, I'm probably just gonna say something encouraging, like, "Oh, girl, he's cute." You know what I mean? Like, so you shouldn't have to lie about that. So the fact that you are lying saving yourself tells me that you're like making fun of the physical appearance of guys that you yourself are choosing to talk to. That's so weird. Also, yeah, it was not lost on me that I thought that was a gym bro from the picture, and that's why I got so confused that, like, the comment turned out that way, but it could still be a man, honestly. Could still be a gym bro engaging in that behavior, quite frankly. That, or you could just say you were drunk. Women are truly so similar to men, and we're so in denial about it. Like, when a man does something inappropriate, audacious, or toxic while drunk and says, "Oh my God, sorry, babe, I was so drunk," we reasonably do not accept that excuse, because being drunk is not an excuse for disgusting behavior. In fact, many believe that that's simply you showing your true colors when you're drunk. Most people agree that your behavior while drunk is not this caricature that's a completely separate persona. It's your qualities that you already have deep down brought out with liquid truth, right? So why is it that we reasonably accept that being drunk is not an excuse for men, but when you're a girl, you just accept people to excuse away your shittiness because you were drunk? It's up there with the giggle and the like, oh, the affection, the sudden physical affection immediately after saying something fucked is, oh my gosh, but I was just drunk. Oh my God, I would never have done that if I wasn't drunk. Oh my God. Nice saves, writing this down. Okay. Hold on, I'm still here. I'm just gently getting a runny nose with a tissue, and I don't want you to see. I shall spare you of this. Oh my God. By the way, I still have to schedule my septumplasty. They called me and they're like, "Okay, we're all ready for you. All you have to do is schedule it." And like, I'm executive dysfunctioning it over this so hard, you guys. Guys, just like email me, Lauren@dadvocate.net with schedule your septumplasty. And if you guys bully me enough, I'll finally fix my deviated septum so I can breathe. I'm just so scared. Okay. Let's move on to the next one. I'll do it. I don't want to be away from you guys, and I don't want to be in pain, but I know it's going to just change my life for the better. She was feeling her boobs don't fly for her lies. Could you imagine? Like, to be honest, though, I know that a lot of guys joke around and are like, if I was a girl, I would just play with my boobs all the time. And it's like, it's true. We do. Like, we really do. We put on cute outfits and we stand in front of the mirror and we jump. Honestly, we do. Like, I'll admit it. Every woman, even the ones without titties, they just see what they can do. It's the same as, like, how all of you guys, like, see if you can do the you know what I'm talking about. Or at least this. You know. I see you. I know you do that. You can't lie to me. Okay? This one's a kind of funny one that I think probably survives the gender swap test.
I want to lose you, but if that's what you want, I wish you the best.
Yeah,
she
you
said
gave,
okay to
you
that.
gave her an escape in the second sentence.
So what we see here, non-visual crew, is about 4, possibly 5 friends. Oh yeah, because there's a guy filming. So possibly 5, maybe more friends who are screencasting this guy's text messages with his now ex-girlfriend onto the TV so that they as a group can break down where exactly bro went wrong.
You emphasized your own message. I thought this was an obvious breakup text that I didn't need to show.
If you would have been vulnerable with the boys about what was actually going on,
I could have saved
would have said, no, we, not you.
We could have saved it.
We
would have saved it.
You saw a little bit of hesitancy coming from her, and you said, I'm done. I give up. Why didn't you tell me this earlier? You never told me. She's been here at this house before. Why didn't you tell me? You didn't tell me. This is 5 months ago. This is how you would have handled it. You could have told me that earlier. I didn't know. You were in Argentina at the time, and you didn't show me this text till now. Well, you could have asked for it.
You could have said, Sam, why did you break up with her? You gotta let the boys know.
You're not vulnerable about any of your relationships. She broke up with you. I'm thinking I should text her back.
What if she misses him, though? She might miss him.
She could be in another relationship. Stop. Giving him false hope.
But I told her, I don't want to lose you, but if that's what you want, I wish you the best.
Yeah.
What do we think about this one, guys? Does it survive the gender swap? Now, here's where it gets a little nuanced. I think it entirely depends on the friend group. Because men always support their homies getting into a relationship with almost any girl, as long as she is not like extremely toxic. But you'll notice it whenever a guy posts like in a relationship on Facebook, it is like everybody's showing up. When a girl posts in a relationship with a guy, people are like, he better not do anything wrong. I'll decide if I like him when I meet him. There's so much more scrutiny toward men from women, and way, way less. Like, guys generally, like, want their male friends to succeed in relationships, as long as she doesn't, like, completely change homie or take him away from the things he loves. You know, they generally want to help your relationship succeed. And, like, I, as a woman, can speak to that. Every single male friend that I met through TJ, as I started to date him, was like, hey, yo, like, we are gonna make you feel so comfortable and so loved and so not creeped on. And like, they, like, the homies rode for it. And like, I'm really blessed where I have amazing female friends who have pretty much done the same for TJ. Like, TJ loves my friends. He's so cute. I love, TJ does this thing where he's like, he will literally reach out to my friends for me and plan play dates for us and then surprise me with my own friends. It's so cute. But anyway, but if we put this through the gender swap test and we have a room full of girlies psychoanalyzing texts, the breakup texts from the man, it's not going to be as wholesome. I'll tell you that right now. Like, like, they might be making her feel better about her choices, but there is no criticism happening. There is no constructive criticism. There is no, here's where you could have done things better. There is no, what if he still misses you? Maybe we should still reach out. There is none of that going to be happening. And we literally know this as kind of a prelude from the last one, when we saw the way that, like, women were ashamed to even have these conversations, or the fact that they're discussing these conversations be found out. And why is that? Because these analyzations are not nearly as wholesome. That's for sure. I think the likelihood of receiving a wholesome, positive outcome when a bunch of girls are psychoanalyzing text messages from guys versus the vice versa of this, I don't know. I will say, again, it entirely depends on the group of friends you have, because you could have a group of really, like, toxic, sexist, piece of shit dudes who will make it as unwholesome and cringy as possible. But I think the group that's probably most likely to assume the worst intent while analyzing text messages, probably going to be the women. Probably going to be the ladies on this one. But now the ultimate thing is, when we ask ourselves, does it survive the gender swap test? If the answer is no, then the question is, then is this even appropriate behavior to begin with? This one? I have a lot of mixed feelings on it. On one hand, this one's a really interesting one, because before this, we've exclusively watched videos of this is a normal behavior for women, or at least in this context, it appears funny to other women, but if we flip it, it probably won't have the same results. This is the first time we get to experience that from male behavior. In this video of the men analyzing their friend's breakup text to his then girlfriend, it reads as very wholesome, positive masculinity, like these are very dateable, uplifting men, right? But when we put it through the gender swap machine, what we start to kind of realize is like, wait a minute, because of the different like gender zeitgeist that kind of exist and cause us to like get angry or triggered by certain things, it kind of wakes us up a little bit more to what's actually wrong with it. And you know, it's not until like realizing how nasty certain groups of people would be that we start to break this down and go, wait a minute, is it really appropriate to show your private text messages to a group of your friends, first of all, but then video it and broadcast it to the greater general public? A lot of people might not find that funny and might find that to be a gross breach of privacy, or, you know, just violated and betrayed. You know what I mean? It's tough to say, you know, how you would react in that situation. There's so many pieces that go into something like this, and whether or not it would be okay. But I'm curious to hear from you guys. What do you think about screencasting private text messages to your group of friends if the end goal is ultimately to analyze where you went wrong and where you can improve? Is it overall, no matter the gender, a fine behavior, or overall a behavior that we should avoid? What do you guys think? Intimacy should be private. Well, this doesn't seem to be necessarily about kissing. It seems to be about like the terms, the reasons for which the breakup came through. Unless it was about sex, then ooh, that's the thing. It's getting a little bit even more private there. Only if it's like this one. People post that stuff on Reddit. Well, I've kind of talked about this. Reddit's kind of a different environment because ideally, unless you're posting other details that make you identifiable, ideally you remain anonymous and you are leaving out enough details to keep it anonymous. And if that's the case, I do support anonymous venting, as long as it cannot be traced back to you, right? I do think it's fair to try and get objective other anonymous opinions if you are not identifiable. This, obviously, they all know who she is. She's been in that house before. I think to understand where we went wrong is so important. So like this. I think that this one probably survives the gender swap test. Again, entirely dependent on the group of people. If the intent is truly to self-improve and be receptive to feedback, then it passes the gender swap test, and it's probably not bad. You got to make sure you leave out anything, like people are saying, you got to leave out anything sexual before you screencast. Ideally, you are just taking screenshots and only screencasting the screenshots so you don't even accidentally get no titty. You know what I mean? But also, once you break up with someone, delete those pictures. Okay? This is another part of bro code, girl code, non-binary code. It is the code. You break up with them, you delete the saucy pictures. I don't care if you get back together later. You erase that save file. You start over. Okay? I'm telling you, you will get into trouble. If you don't delete those pictures, you are going to get into trouble. All right? Okay. Hold on one second. I have a runny nose for a second time. Oh, okay. I'm going to fix this nose. I'm going to fix it. Oh, it's so broken. Okay. I'm so sorry. Thank you to everybody for dealing with me. Okay. On to our next analysis. This one's so crazy. This reads, "Good morning from 3 delusional girls. Talked to him for 3 weeks. Missed him for a year and a half. Talked for 2 months. Missed him for 2 years. talked for 6 days, missed him for 5 months. High-fiving on, at least we never even dated them. I like to call this video the hardest of copium, diaries of 3 Chad widowed to hell women. Now, before we even put it through the gender swap test, can we do a little sidebar competition of which of these 3 is actually the most down bad? It's going to involve some math here. So I want your help with this, like with doing the ratios on this. So the first one, they only talked for 3 weeks, but missed him for a year and a half. Okay? Situation 1. Girl 2, they talked for 2 months, so significantly longer, double the amount of time, but missed him for 2 years. So we already have a different ratio here, because if you talk for double the amount of time, then following that formula, you should be missing him for 3 years, but you didn't. So you got over yours a lot faster. So girl 2 is so far beating girl 1 as far as down baddedness. But then we have girl 3. They only talked for 6 days. She missed him for 5 months. So she has the lowest amount of missed time, but also the lowest amount of talking time. So 6 days, she talked for 1/3 of the amount of time, roughly, as girl 1. 5 months is also, it's still less than 1/3. So I think that we can attest that girl 3 is the least down bad of them all. She takes the quickest, she recovers the fastest, and also just holds on to it overall with the least amount of time. I think she falls harder faster, but can also pull herself out of it with some more emotional regulation than her friends. But certainly she has the best chance of being a normal human if she gets different roommates. I think that this gaggle of spinsters might be holding themselves back through their shared agreement that delusion is the best strategy here. Is it really about linear ratios, though? That was kind of the method that I was using to approach it. Is there any other formulas that you... Look, we can get math nerdy, okay? We can bring up... Let's get into some fractals, okay? Anybody want to do some Apollyon gaskets on this somehow? Yeah, does anybody else have any, like, formulas? Might want to find the plot, find the curve of best fit. That's so funny. Yeah, it's... So let's go ahead and put this through the gender swap test. What we'd have to have is 3 dudes, and the male equivalent to these girls would be 3 gym bros, obviously. Just chilling out, talking about, you know, he talked to the girl for 3 weeks, but couldn't get over her for a year and a half. These bros, same with all these bros, but then they're all high-fiving on, at least we never even dated them. Does it survive the gender swap test? So, my analysis on this one is I honestly think it probably does if it has this exact delivery. Like, if the whole joke is being at least self-aware about it. Like, if the whole joke is like, we're all idiots, then it's funny. You're not punching down, you're just self-punching. You're just self-effacing to oblivion, which knows no gender. You know, there is some humor that is just, it's funny to make fun of yourself no matter what. You know what I mean? However, I don't think that, like, know. Do you think that people would find it as funny when guys did it? I could see if like Mario Moranti did this. I think that the women would love it. I think that the women would find it like honestly so endearing if guys were like, oh, I really liked her, man, and like I really was hung up on her, but like if it's in the past, I don't know though, because girls really hate it when guys even seem remotely hung up on someone from the past. Oh snap! Is my kid here? Instead of high-fiving, they'd have to be huddled instead. That's very true. If it was dudes doing this, they would have like one of those like wartime preparation like huddles, you know, over this. Yeah, I think that this would honestly kind of pass the gender swap test, but it entirely depends on who's doing it and the delivery. I think that it's easier for the average girl to get away with this. I think it's a lot easier for the average girl to be like, hee, I'm delusional. And this goes back to the giggle and the like really quick affectionate arm rub as soon as they do something toxic, is like, it's a lot more societally acceptable when a girl does something super toxic and just goes, hee, but I'm just being delusional, to be like insta forgiven. Whereas like a man could never be like, bro, like I was just being delusional. Come on, like I was just being a little delulu. Come on. So I would say probably overall passes the test. Overall, I think we can accept that this was meant to be a silly, self-effacing joke. Okay? Her son is here, quick, get her talking about TJ. Look, you say that like this poor young man does not have a first-hand experience, a first-class ticket to the Lauren and TJ PDA show. This poor child honestly could sue for damages with how much smooching and cuddling and affection like his disgusting parents throw at each other. So look, he knows. On the plus side though, like I'm kind of happy about it, because like now when he does get into a relationship, like he knows what it's like for like someone to act like a girl to actually like a boy. So like if he's getting used, hopefully he will sense it immediately. Like hopefully he will sense the disturbance of the force. Like, wait a minute. This isn't the love I'm used to. Like that's my sincerest hope. But probably he's just grossed out, honestly. He'll probably still be tricked by his fair share of frogs, and the excessive PDA will just be collateral damage. You know, Viennery, that this is another one of those pros and cons, you know? Just like I'm semi-traumatizing my son into understanding what love is, you occasionally thinking about your high school sweetheart who you dated for 7 years, eventually getting into the corn industry and becoming a drug addict, is like one of those harder lessons. I love this. Dude, this also goes back to what we were saying about how a lot of, like, especially younger men are doing a lot of their emotional socialization through, like, Discord and online gaming. My son says, if I don't sense it, a friend on my server will. You keep that Discord channel open on the first date so the homies can judge. That's so awesome. Okay. We're moving into a Facebook video. So I have to set it up real quick to get it perfectly aligned. Sarah, thank you for the super chat, says, you're trolling me so hard. You are trolling me so hard right now. Sarah, thank you so much for the super chat. Sarah says, I got drunk and accidentally cheated on my boyfriend. What do? I don't want to tell him. I really appreciate that you gave me $5, so I'm going to answer this as charitably as I can, even though I'm so convinced you're trolling me. Okay? If it is true that you cheated on your boyfriend while drunk and want to make it right, this is my advice for you. First, you have to take full accountability and take the word accidentally out. Okay? You didn't accidentally get drunk. You didn't accidentally feed yourself the alcohol. So, therefore, everything that happened after that, not an accident. So, the first part is taking the full stop accountability for what you did. And the reality is that you're also going to have to accept that he's probably not going to forgive you. And you're going to have to tell him. You're going to have to tell him. And he's probably not going to forgive you. However, there is a chance that he might. And if he does, this is where the work begins for you, and where the work is not going to end for a very long time, if not ever. If you're serious, you're making a lifetime commitment to full transparency, consistent reassurance, being an open book, open phone policy, locations on. You have to do the work to prove. And you have to get sober. That's another thing, is if you really want it to work, it means you have to get sober. And between you and him, you can talk about those terms, but you're going to be the one who offers it. You offer it, you commit to it, you show him that you're committed to being sober. Even if he tells you, you don't have to do that, babe, do it. I'm so serious. Even if he tells you, you don't have to do these things, you have to, I promise you, you have to do them. And you have to commit to that for forever, being with this person. Now, if he dumps you, it doesn't mean that you're a cheater forever. I don't believe in once a cheater, always a cheater. I do believe that there are people who cheat and find out real quick that they are not cheaters. Does that make sense? Like, they do it and the guilt they feel is enough to know that they will never do that again, right? Now, it's really more of an issue if it becomes a pattern for you. But, you know, is it possible to not tell him and it be okay? I'm going to be completely chaotic and neutral on this. Yes. It's possible. If he never finds out, ever, okay, but my chat, I promise you, is already trying to figure out who you are so they can tell on you. But if he never finds out ever, it is possible that you could just go on forever and no one could ever know. But I'll tell you this, there are 3 things that always come out: the sun, the moon, and the truth. So you can run, but you're going to be running forever. You're always going to be looking over your shoulder. You're always going to be falling asleep with that pit of anxiety flooding your entire emotional regulation system, wondering, is this the day he's going to find out? And it's going to kill you. I'm just being real. So, I'd be located. No, if anybody else out there accidentally cheats and needs some good advice, that is my best, most real advice for you in that situation. And thank you for the $5. Don't do it again. Psh, psh. All right, did I pull up no, I got distracted. I did not ever end up pulling up the Facebook video. Let me do that now. Let me get it nice and organized for us. Okay. I'm going to have to shrinky dink this down. Like I said, different social media platforms come with different things. Oh, good day, Australia. Okay, I have a question. Since you're here and from Australia, I want to know how accurate I was. I recently said that I feel like Melbourne is the Florida of Australia. Can you confirm or deny? Please tell me. I need to know. Okay. For our next content. What we have here is a woman standing in her kitchen in a flattering top, Remind me to use this as a thumbnail. No, I'm just kidding, but that is such a YouTuber thing to do, is find the titty, put it as your thumbnail. Yeah, so she's showing off her gifts in this as she casually snacks. And the text overlay reads, "Putting a revealing outfit on for the trampoline park with the kids to test my husband." Now, for those of you who for those of you who don't understand the implication is that at a trampoline park, you're probably going to be jumping up and down. And if you're wearing this outfit, everyone there is going to enjoy the show. That's all I can say. And all I can say is most people, gay, straight, anything in between, would probably not be able to look away, okay? Would probably have a real hard time with keeping those eyes on track, all right? We got a whole second set of eyeballs looking at us here, all right? Now this, I love Shenlong has a great question here, asks, what are you even testing? This is why we ask these questions, but let's watch the video. Oh, sorry, I turned the volume off. Volume button? Oh, there it is. It was hidden in the white, sad beige baby walls.
You're not wearing that.
Why? I look cute.
I don't give a flying. You do. You look really cute. You're not wearing that.
Why?
Come on, I know you're joking. You're not wearing that.
Kind of controlling.
Are you for real right now? You're gonna wear that?
I think I look cute.
You're gonna wear that.
Say hi to the internet. Say I'm controlling.
Ooh, so this is a fun piece to the double standards, does it pass the gender swap game of the day, because this also falls under the partner shaming umbrella. Yay! We get a little partner shaming today as well. And here's why. It doesn't follow the necessary exact formula of the partner shaming, which is secretly record your partner's embarrassing or toxic or shameful behavior, post it online without his knowledge, and then have everybody roast and flame him for it. It's not like the exact same as other videos, but I feel like it definitely still falls under the umbrella, right? First of all, you guys know I don't like these relationship tests, because as someone asked earlier, what are we trying to test here? And it would appear as though what she is trying to test is whether or not her husband would allow her to wear such an overtly sexual outfit. And so I want to kind of dive into why we might even feel the need to test that. Like, first of all, this is your husband, you have kids together, so are you just now trying to figure out if he's controlling? You didn't know that before? It sounds like you probably did, and you probably knew that whether or not you want to call it controlling, you knew that wearing this outfit to a trampoline park would at the very least make him uncomfortable. Now let's dive into the question of, is it controlling to not feel comfortable with your girl wearing this outfit to a trampoline park? What do you think, chat? To me, all we get contextually is him saying, you're not wearing that. Which got him, if you were looking for that sound bite to make it sound like you have a controlling outfit, like, oh, you have all the ammunition you need to screw your husband over forever. You got a soundbite of yourself wearing a cute revealing outfit and got your husband to say, you're not wearing that? Oh, he's fucked. Like, you could literally ruin his entire life. You know? Like, that. Now, is that his fault or hers? I don't know. It depends on how you feel about it. If you feel that a man, it's always wrong for him to tell his wife, like, you're not wearing that, then what's so ironic about this is that we literally already covered this gender swap earlier. Remember when we were talking about how the wife is allowed to say, you're not wearing that, but it's controlling immediately. It's like the worst soundbite ever when he does it. Now, the reason that I personally do not think that a man expressing concern, and if I can suggest, men, if you're ever in the situation, don't say you're not wearing that. Just avoid saying that. Don't say that for the reasons listed prior. But you gotta phrase it in like a different way. Like, you gotta honestly just ask why you're wearing that. Because that way you're not being accusatory. You're not making, you're not drawing the worst possible conclusion. You're asking to find out more information. Just start by saying, like, why this outfit? Why? And of course, she's going to gaslight, girl boss, gatekeep you, and she's going to say, because I look cute. Because I look cute. Right? That's what she's doing here. Even though, that's the part that annoyed me about this video too, is that even though he agreed with her, he said, you do look cute. You're just not wearing that to the trampoline park. She still keeps insisting, I think I look cute. As if he didn't already agree with that part. You look cute in a one-piece lingerie lacy bodysuit too. You're also not going to be wearing that to the trampoline park. You know what I mean? Like, girl. So she does all that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's just it's pronounced jaslight. Gary knows. God damn it. Or if you're in Skyrim, Yaslight. But they always do this when they do these relationship tests. They do the obnoxious baity thing, and then as soon as he instantly recognizes the obnoxious baity thing, they go, I don't know what you mean. Oh, well, I'm just an innocent baby. Tits falling out. Like,
You're not wearing that.
Why? I look cute.
Not the sausage in her mouth while she's doing it. Like, this is the exact type of bait that literal OnlyFans creators regularly post to TikTok to traffic viewers from one site to the next. And you're using this as like a quirky, funny thing in your like whole ass married relationship. Like, people would rightfully assume that you would have a chili pepper emoji in your bio by watching this video. Like, and I'm truly not trying to like slut shame or whatever. I'm just warning you of the implication. It's the implication. Okay? Do businesses even allow this if you're going to be around kids? Trampoline park dress code. Because I've got to imagine they probably don't want like underwear showing and stuff. Generally wear comfortable, stretchy, and breathable athletic clothing. I don't know if there's any like hard set rules of like you can't have the flaps flapping at the trampoline park. Oh, by the way, I just got some Beerus socks that you and your dad can now fight over. Fun fact, son. But looks breathable. SVR, I can't with you. That's too funny. Yeah, I don't know if there's any necessarily like rules against it. I wouldn't kick someone out of the trampoline park for wearing this. Like, I also wouldn't be like, avert your gaze, children. Like, my kids know if someone's dressed like this, you just mind your business. You know what I mean? Like, even if my kid's teacher was dressed like this, I would be like, just focus on the lesson, dude. Like, this is life. In life, there's gonna be errant titties just hanging out, and you're gonna have to live with that. You know what I mean?
I don't give a flying. You do. You look really cute. You're not wearing that.
Why?
Kimberly, I know you're joking. You're not wearing that.
Kind of controlling.
And see, like, dude, she's like, this is when people say women don't pick fights. Oh my God, women are not just out here picking fights for no reason. What am I watching?
Are you for real right now? You're gonna wear that?
I think I look cute.
You're gonna wear that.
Say hi to the internet. Say I'm controlling.
This really, I don't think women realize how much this drives dudes insane. And yet, this is one of those weird things that we understand but we pretend that we don't. And I'm gonna get into this for a second. And I want you, as I get into this next point, just take this image, the camera panning to him, looking genuinely frustrated and annoyed, and then realizing, oh, but now I have to pretend like it's okay because I'm being recorded for my wife's social media that I didn't give any consent to even being a part of. But I don't want to further fight with my wife, so now I just have to suck it up and pretend it's okay, or else I really am the controlling bad guy. That's what just happened. Under no, like, parsed terms. That's exactly what we just witnessed. Okay? And I really want to get into this because we as women, we look at situations like the Ruby Frankie situation, who, you know, thrust her children into the YouTube spotlight and used them for clout and money, all while mistreating them behind closed doors. We look at the same situation with, like, John and Kate plus 8. All of those kids are now starting to come out and speak out against their parents, and the colossal damage of constantly having a camera being pointed in their face when there was nothing that they could do about it. And it's easy for us to understand how much that situation would just completely erode your trust in people and put you into, like, this constant anxiety state of, like, constant fight or flight and, like, looking over your shoulder and never knowing when you're gonna be, like, on camera or what's gonna be posted, or never having control of what's already been posted. We can recognize the damage there, but magically, as soon as people turn 18, we just don't see how that damage could continue to exist when it's wives constantly pointing a camera in their husbands' faces, constantly vlogging and making content and doing these relationship tests and relationship trends for the lulz, and just never knowing what's going to be put out there, how they're going to be portrayed, what people are going to say about them. We just expect these men to, like, just suck it up. Oh my God, why can't you just let your wife make content? Like, we just pretend that that wouldn't also drive a person crazy. So with all that in mind, let's do the gender swap test. Does it pass the gender swap test? So I'll admit this one's going to be kind of hard to like visualize or create a male form of, because, like, men don't really have the same, like, thirst trapping capabilities as women do, you know, except for, like, extremely gay spaces, I would say. You know, like, you could argue that there's, like, fireman calendars, I guess, but, like, they really don't have that kind of, like, soft sexual capital power that women do with a simple outfit like this. And so I'm trying to think of like what the equivalent might be. The closest I can come up with is like those gray sweatpants that dudes wear where you can see the outline, if you know what I mean. Or like, I don't know, I think it might even be just like suspicious enough if he was like, all right, I'm going out with my coworkers, but it's just going to be coworkers. I don't want you to come. And then he wore like a really nice suit and like cologne. Wouldn't that be kind of like the similar one? You know what I mean? So imagine a guy is like putting on a sexy outfit to go out with my coworkers with to test my wife. I think first, like, already people are like, why are you doing that? That seems really insecure and weird of you, right? I think even like off the dome before we even watched the video, we're like, what are you trying to do? Not the same, not sexual. Again, we're gonna have to get creative with this one. Men just don't have the same sexual power as women. They just don't. They don't. Otherwise, you guys would be owning the OnlyFans industry, dude. You know? Oops, drop my massive condom for my magnum dong. Giving that energy. Would you guys rather me do the gray sweatpants? I feel like it's not the same as a woman. If my dude was wearing gray sweatpants and was like, I'm going out to the trampoline park, it's not putting on the same alarm bells, honestly, as like your dude wearing a really nice fitted suit while going to an area where women will be located. Do you know what I'm saying? Can some of you guys meet me halfway here? Do you guys honestly think that gray sweatpants are the same thing? If you want me to switch the analogy, I can. Either way, she's uncomfortable. She expresses uncomfortability. She's like, you're going out like that? And he goes, what's wrong? I look good. Gaslighting her, right? And then she goes, okay, yeah, I agree, you look good, but like, why are you wearing that? And he just goes, I just look good. And she's like, what? And he goes, yeah, you're being a little controlling, actually. And she's like, what? And then he just takes it and pans to her and goes, smile, you're on camera. I don't think anybody would appreciate that. Freedom Fiend says, guys can go out in public wearing skinny jeans and a tight sleeveless tee. Yeah, like, you guys can really, like, no one, like, really, gray sweatpants are the only article of clothing in, like, history where there's even like a chance of anybody noticing your reproductive organs. And I'm not like saying that in like a harsh way. It's just like, it really just does not happen. Like, the amount of times that like I have ever walked around in my life and been like, oh my God, I can kind of noticeably see that guy's shaft, is like, honestly never. It's honestly never happened to me. But like the amount of times I've walked around and been like, oh my God, I can practically see that woman's entire nipple, is like in an every single day basis. Why? Because women are doing it on purpose, because they know their sexual capital. Men, if you had that, you would be using it. You guys are pissing me off. You guys are pissing me off trying to act like the gray sweatpants are anywhere near the same as a low-cut top. Have you been to a gym, Lauren? Yes. And like, guys are not in control of like the thirst. They're just not. Like, I guess guys have some revealing clothing, but it's just not ever going to be the same. I'm sorry, but like the equivalent, the sexual equivalent is like a man in uniform. I cannot fully explain it to you, but it's almost like the more clothes a man puts on is the same as the less clothes a woman has on. You can choose to listen to me, or you can keep living in this delusion that you're going to have women by the throat with your fucking green sweatpants. But no, you need to put on some clothes. Kilts? No, because you're still not seeing the junk. I've never been flashed by a man in a kilt. Ever. Because men who wear kilts are wholesome dudes who are not trying to be perverted. Men who wear kilts are not doing it to make women like breathless. Although, you know, quite frankly, it does sometimes happen. They're doing it because they love the breathability and how good they look, okay? Yeah, and I will say anything sexual at like a kid's park is weird. I think that should be lumped in with like the questions I would be asking her. And isn't that another annoying double standard, is that he gets labeled the creep and the controlling person for saying please don't wear that, when like we don't even know if the reason that he was saying that is like, I just don't think it's appropriate for children. Gray sweatpants equals camel toe. Is that what we call the male outline? I don't think we should call it the camel toe, but yeah, there is a lot of camel toe at the gym, I will say that. And that's the thing, I see even more camel toe than I ever see outlines. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. I'm just... the camel tail. That's so funny. Unreconstructed Carl, thank you. Thank you. I don't often need to be told I'm right on things, but on this one I was like going crazy for a minute. I'm like, you are all gaslighting me. The camel hump. Oh man. That's so funny. Male outline is a moose knuckle. Oh god. And yes, Jake, it is possible to hire TJ to do some art for you. Either email me, Lauren@dadvocate.net, or him, OTL Rook. That's like Rook is in the chess piece, @gmail.com. Yes. But yeah, I think I've said my piece on this dude. This lady is weird for doing this. I get that she's like just trying to have like a joke, just trying to be funny, just trying to like do like a silly funny trend. It's supposed to be lighthearted. She's not actually trying to get people to hate her husband. I get that. Still weird of you to do this whole thing. Still very like oblivious to like how female privilege this reads, and no, it does not survive the gender swap. Shala, so good to see you. Thank you for your 5. So generous. Say what you will about the male gaze, at its consistent and quantifiable, the female gaze is an enigma we have yet to crack reliably. It's so interesting. The female gaze is so different than like just abject sexuality. And here's the thing too. I want to touch on this. The male gaze, hot take, the male gaze is oversimplified, in my opinion, as well. The male gaze is actually more enigmatic than we even really care to discuss, because we think that we have it nailed. We think that we have it down hard, of like, oh, men like big titties and big boobies and little waist and big doe eyes, and that's what men like. And like, guys, a lot of you are men, and you know that that is not your type. You know that. It's so much more complex, and a lot of it is the fact that like there's a certain part of what men find attractive that has nothing to do with that superficial stuff, and is actually so much more like honed in on the more natural characteristics. Like so much of the male gaze is stuff like having a goofy laugh. Like a goofy laugh that is distinguishable from the laugh, the one that men have been like manipulated with their whole lives. When men can sense that your laugh is genuine, even if it's a weird laugh, that is what they find sexy, because it's real. When a girl like freshly wakes up and she still has like the sleep in her eyes and like her hair is crazy, men go crazy because it's real, because they haven't taken the time to like script that look, because it's a moment of rare authenticity that men crave from women, you know? And so I wanted to touch on that actually. There's like these little micro things, and women do wonder about that. I can't tell you how many TikToks I've seen where women are like, what is boy hot? Because I'll think a girl is so hot, but like she just can't get guys. And it's like, she's probably like too hot. She's probably trying too hard to be hot. Honestly, like that's the difference. And what women find attractive and what men find attractive is like, us women, we're so captivated by these little things that women orchestrate, like how their earrings match the clasp on their shoe, how they're able to like get their eyelashes to curl in a specific way, the way that they add like a lip liner. And like what men are attracted to is like they're concerned about how you're directing so much effort there. They're like, man, are you able to just chill and have fun? Are you going to be able to relax? Am I going to be able to relax? Like, that's what they find attractive. And like us women are clueless to how on edge we can put men with the simple anxiety of, am I going to be able to relax around you, simply with how we present ourselves. So much of the stuff that we think is like, this makes me look so irresistibly hot right now, is also signaling to men, I'm gonna have a fucking hard time. Oh, I want to read this. Coup de Jarnac says, a ramble about something they care about is more attractive than any makeup. Dude, this is why I love men. Call me a pick-me all you want, but like, it's so cute the way that men are like, God, I love when women ramble on about like a random topic they like, because it's like on the same exact side of the flip coin. This is also like where a lot of women need to understand that men so often treat women the way they want to be treated, and that's why there's so much misunderstanding, you know? Like, the reason, like, you love that so much in a woman, and like, that's so frustrating because I can't tell you how many men I speak to, especially because my audience is like heavily neurodiverse, but so many guys that I talk to are like, God, I get so embarrassed when I bore women or they get frustrated with me because I can't stop info dumping. And it's like, fuck, man, you deserve someone who gets excited to hear you talk about things you care about. You know what I mean? And so it's like, I feel like that might also be a reason that, you know, guys put so much effort into that form of love language of like, you know, that being something they find so attractive. Is I think deep down you guys like wish that people found that attractive about you. You know, it's the same as like women get so annoyed with men for like randomly catcalling or complimenting them, but like men do that because they want that so bad. Like men are craving being randomly yelled at from a moving vehicle how hot they are. Like men would punch their own brother in the face for that opportunity, you know? So that's like one of the biggest misunderstandings between men and women, I think, is like we treat each other the way we want to be treated, but we don't spend enough time trying to understand how we should be treating people based on how they want to be treated, you know? Sarah, I love nerdy guys too. Big same. I think a lot of girls do. I think nerds stay winning, but sorry, the societal belief that people don't like nerds keeps them from pursuing it. Sorry, I hate coughing on mic, but I had a little tickle in there. Yeah, I think that like the why am I forgetting the word right now? But the delusion that like girls don't like nerdy guys is keeping the men we really want from succeeding, the same way that this illusion of like men will always lose in family court is preventing a lot of guys from even filing. But the reality is that like if you at least file, your odds now shoot up to at least 50% getting what you want, according to the statistics. You know, that's apparently the amount in which men are getting some custody when they file. So just do it, nerds. Just talk to those girls. Okay, I think I got the tickle out. Let's move on to this next video. So I actually showed you a version of this one trend. Hold on. Women don't hate nerdy men. They hate men who are socially awkward and don't have masculine traits. That's fair. It's not even so much about like the masculinity part, but it's we like confident nerds. You have to find what gives you confidence and then continue to practice it so that you can retain that confidence in something and use it to your advantage in every social situation, you know? God damn it, Tara Darkness says, I love nerdy guys, the nerdy guys she likes. Henry Cavill. I get what you're saying, but not all of us are Henry Cavill gals, okay? Someone messaged me to be like, I just wanted to console you in this time of hardship as I just learned Henry Cavill is having his first child. And I'm like, first of all, I'm not really a Henry Cavill girly, but second of all, that's actually dangerous because as a known DILF hunter, that probably is the only thing that could turn me into a Henry Cavill girly. Okay, let's move on to the next video. We have been covering this trend lately that I find hilarious. It's funny because the first time I saw this video, I was like, now this is the kind of partner shaming I can get behind. But it's the trend of significant others filming themselves chasing each other, and they'll say stuff like, the one that I saw was this guy goes, suspect tells me she's trying to unbig her back, but then keeps asking to go out to eat every other day. And like, you know, she'll be like filming him and be like, suspect says he's good at sports, but cannot get his clothes in the laundry hamper. And like, they'll usually have like a funny response to each one. And it's cute because they're both on board with it. It's a mutual roasting. It's consensual. They're both in on it. You know what I mean? I'm like, this is the kind of partner shaming that I think is actually kind of cute. I've even thought about like making one with TJ, like, suspect thinks that when I clear off a surface, it's an open invitation to start immediately filling it up with stuff. He could be like, suspect continuously complains that she can't carry laundry up and down the stairs because of her torn rotator cuff, but won't stop training striking. Like, I've thought about making one, you know? But then I saw this one. And this is the meanest one I've seen so far.
Pregnant every year so she doesn't have to work.
That's not true. It's me. Gets pregnant every year so she doesn't have to work. Okay. So you've chosen to make me hate you is what you've done. Sir, you don't think growing an entire human is work? I Muay Thai elbow the shit out of you! Are you kidding me? Oh my god! I get so triggered when people say shit like this. Like, I know that I'm the Dadvocate. I know that I heavily focus on, like, men's and fathers' issues. But, like, if you think I'm not gonna stand for mothers as well when your misogynistic fucking ass wants to come in and say it's not work to grow you five entire children and still looks that good, you don't think she's putting work into that? And who got her pregnant, sir? Actually, you might want to find out. But were you also leaving fat loads inside of her? Oh, okay. So then why are we mad that she's pregnant? I am so hulking out, dude. Like, if anybody ever wants to come in and say, like, Lauren's just a pick-me, she's not for the girls, remember this moment. Remember the time that I almost broke thousands of dollars of my own computer technology, freaking out over someone saying, oh, you only grew 5 children for our family? How about you do some real work? The audacity that, like, you made the trend unfun within 5 seconds. This was one of my favorite trends, and you have made me rage immediately, and it somehow gets worse. That's so funny. What if she has a breeding fetish? Well, obviously he doesn't appreciate it. Like, dude, you could put on a condom. You could have learned how to put on a condom after baby number 3 or 4 even. Oh, but no, let's keep recklessly splooging inside of my wife and then get mad that she gets pregnant from it. You broke dozens of followers' eardrums. I'm so sorry. I know. I realized I did that and I was like, maybe I should turn this down before I freak out. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit, just knowing I'm probably going to continue to rage. How's my regular volume? As long as I don't get too quiet. Okay, I'm calming down. Where's Levi? Clip it and ship it, baby. Please. Why is she taking a joke so seriously? Because unfortunately, my cheating friend, this is not a joke. Like, there's actually guys who think this, obviously, because with every joke, it's only funny if there's truth behind it, right? So he thought to include this as the first joke because it was the first thing he thought of. No, really, think about this. They sat down with each other and they were like, oh, there's this new trend where we like chase each other and record like, you know, funny flaws about the other person. And the first thing that this asshole thought was, my wife is only performing one of the most beautiful miracles known to mankind to get out of contributing financially. Wait. Steve says, Lauren, she has a special talent. Her vagina actually dissolves condoms. You know what? If that was true, I'd be mad too. When the vagina dentata goes way too hard.
What a cute baby
Baby
boy.
number 5. Suspect is a mama's boy.
Come on, you had to throw that in there.
Like, think about that. He hit her with the, you're getting pregnant on purpose to ruin me financially with you love your mom. Why is that even a bad thing? Really?
Suspect has absolutely no booty and needs to fucking work on it.
Like, at least when the guy was like, suspect's always telling me she wants to unbig her back but won't stop going out to eat, at least he's not saying, I want suspect to unbig her back. It's like, that's a funny joke because every guy knows what it's like to have his girl be like, oh my god, I really need to lose weight, and then like immediately is eating cookies like while saying it. Like, every guy knows what that's like, and you know the struggle of like, I don't even think you need to lose weight, but like, I feel like it's my job to say something, but I know if I say something, I will perish. So, like, every guy knows that struggle. So it's funny, but like, you can't be the one saying my wife has no booty and needs to work on it. Oh my god, what? Like, first of all, I also want to speak on booties for a second. I honestly feel like whether or not you have a bubble butt is probably another one of those things that's more genetically predispositioned. Like, booties, you either got it or you don't. And like, working on it will give it a better shape no matter what. That's true. But if you don't have a booty, the best that's going to happen is you have a better defined pancake. Like, you cannot just get a booty without those like fake booty fillers, which I would never in a million years recommend to anybody. As an autistic person, I don't even think I could get away with saying that. Dude, as an autistic person wearing a shirt that says, beware, I am autistic and autistic things will come out of my mouth, you still wouldn't get away with saying it, okay? Yeah, he's just out here body shaming, Clint. Like, really and truly. Like, if you got the Miley Cyrus booty, you got the Miley Cyrus booty. You just gotta live with that. Like, it clearly has not prevented you from being all over it because you have 5 kids. How are you going to body shame the person that you've made 5 kids with, bro? That's so embarrassing for you.
That's mean. What are you talking about? Suspect doesn't know how to cook, clean, or do laundry for himself and leaves his socks in little corners and I have to pick them up and it's disgusting and I hate doing it.
All right, I get it.
Yeah, these aren't jokes. Like, they just had to get some things off their chest here, man. Like, and like, what's really frustrating is like, yeah, okay, that wasn't a joke. Like, you're very frustrated with your husband's lack of domestic responsibility, reciprocity, but at the same time, like, it does indeed sound like he's the sole financial earner. And like, I personally believe of either gender, this is not a gender role thing, that if someone is the sole financial provider, then yes, you do need to be doing more domestically. Fight me on that if you want, but I honestly believe that. I honestly do. okay? And I'm talking sole financial provider. It gets a lot more nitty gritty when both people are working the same amount of hours, but maybe one person earns more. You know what I mean? At that point, no, I don't necessarily think that you have to like step up and do all the domestic responsibilities just because you earn less, even though you're working the same hours. But if he's the sole financial provider, then like, no, he's not going to have the same knowledge of laundry or how the house is organized or how you like to keep it. And that's something that I wish more couples would understand, is like, you think it's so unfair that he's not doing things the same way as you are, but you're clearly not doing things the same way as he is either, you know? Like, appreciate the differences in each other instead of focusing on like, you're not doing everything that I'm doing. You're never going to be doing everything the other person's doing. Never, ever. This video is ending in a fist fight. They got to do that German marriage resolution dueling where like the man goes inside of a hole and she gets a bat. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Google it. I'm not even lying.
Hey, God, it's supposed to be funny. Suspect
Yeah,
gets
this is supposed to be funny, isn't it? You body shaming moron.
a headache around 8 p.m. every single night, making it very difficult for me to have any personal time with her.
Bro, are you serious right now? You're gonna complain that you don't get to bone your wife enough after you just made fun of her entire physical appearance and she's literally carrying your child? Like, hello? The math is not mathing. Like, you guys both just suck. Like, this relationship sucks.
Not only headaches, stomach aches, pains, uncomfortable attitude, nausea, indigestion, upset stomach.
Wow, he's really like, he's pushing this. Guys, men, gentlemen, boys, fellas, dudes. I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. Don't fucking do this shit. Don't. Do not get on here on the internet and make fun of your wife's ass, accuse her of weaponizing pregnancy, and then berate her for not fucking you enough. Don't do that. That's not cute. It's not cute. Okay? It's I don't even know if therapy is going to be enough for that one. I hate it. I hate the whole thing. So, this one's going to be difficult, but does it survive the gender swap test? The thing is, this one was always supposed to survive. This one was always supposed to survive the gender swap test, and yet both genders have successfully demonstrated how capable they each are of ruining a perfectly good thing for all of us. And that's kind of a beautiful moment in and of itself, is the demonstration of equality here. The way that both people were able to come together and take something that was supposed to be innocent and fun and use it as a vehicle through which to present to the World Wide Web their deep-seated resentments that they genuinely hold for each other. That's... Vienna, you did get the gender swap. You nailed it. The gender swap would be, you only work to avoid your kids. And sadly, though, that is 100% something that dudes actually get hit with. And it's frustrating on both ends. It especially pisses me off with non-custodial fathers, because they'll rake these dudes over the court for child support, and then he'll have to go and like pick up a second job just to be able to afford both child support and his own cost of living and the cost of the kids when he does have them. And then they'll be like, well, he doesn't even see the kids because he's working so much. And it's like, Yes, so that I can pay you. So I can pay you. And so then you offer, okay, well then I'll work less so I can see the kids more. And they're like, you're just trying to get out of child support. So aggravating. Like, when I say things like dads cannot do anything right in family court, I know y'all want to call me dramatic, but I'm so for real. That, like, you list any single thing a father can do, and he's automatically, like, being reprimanded for it. If you so much as walk into a family court office as a man, you're getting side-eyed to fucking hell, dude. Okay? If you're there to collect child support from a woman, ew, you put a woman on child support? That's disgusting. Like, you cannot do anything right at all. You don't file to see your kids. Why aren't you fighting for your kids? You do file to see your kids. Why are you trying to take them away from the mom? I know I can't win every single chat, guys, but you know what helps? You could always super chat. Look, I'm not trying to shake you down. I'm not trying to be like, give me your money. I don't need it, you know, but if you want me to see your thing, that's how you do it, you know? Doom for Zombies, I have returned. What have I missed? Me teaching people how super chats work. And semi-roasting my own audience again. But look, if you didn't come in here and tell me you accidentally cheated on your boyfriends, I wouldn't have to roast you guys. Yes. Yeah, I'm so glad that we're talking about double standards on this stream here. Okay. We've gotten through all of the videos that I wanted to show you. So what I have next for you are some various Reddit-y things. Oh man, can I zoom in on this? Yes, I can. Okay. All right. Some of them will still have visual things, and we'll go over them. But before that, I have to run to the bathroom really quick. So I'm going to put up the BRB screen for like 2 minutes, run to the bathroom, have a quick little snacky, and then I'm going to come back with some pet tax. So, you guys continue entertaining each other, get Doom for Zombies all up to speed, or Doom for Zombies even take a second to watch on double speed or something until you see the BRB screen is over. But, okay, 2 minutes begins now. 2 to 5. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. As promised, I have a baby. You may hear him purr. He is a very happy baby right now. Dude. What a little guy. I'm so happy that, like, I just get to stay home and do this. Do you know how hard it used to be to, like, leave every day and, like, go to a job? Freedom Fiend. I accidentally cheated on my dog, went to the park without thinking about it, saw another dog, and the next thing I knew, I was petting her. What do I do? I'm gonna be so charitable with this. I mean, first of all, how dare you? Like, right in front of your other dog? How dare Miles? I know you want to pet Mochi too, but, like, you're stressing him out. Miles has chronic FOMO. Meanwhile, one of my other cats is apparently hacking up a hairball as we speak. Okay, Miles, go on. Go check on the other cat. He's like, no, I am so jealous right now. Yeah, dude, you see the consequences of when you pet other animals in front of your dog? The anxiety fills the entire room. Sarah, you can't consent if you are drunk. We've discussed that. We have discussed that rule. And basically in, like, the rock, paper, scissors of drunk consent, I think it's generally agreed upon that if one of you is drunk and the other one is, then the consent cannot exist and you should not be engaging in anything of the matter. However, if both people are drunk, then what do? You know? At that point, it's generally considered kind of like, well, then you both R-worded each other then, because we're not just going to blame one of the drunk people, but not the other one, you know? This is such a vibe, dude. What is going on? This one's Mochi. Oh, Cat or Cora? Sorry, I didn't even read who typed that. I was like, yeah, you know which cat this is. Which one's hacking up the hairball, though? I would guess Catilia. She's been working on one lately. Dude, he looks like a machine gun. Dude, the cat tax is cat taxin'. My left bicep is sore from holding him like such a baby. Man, you can, like, hear Miles licking his own balls too. We're just having a day of boys. You are just such a little baby. Can we continue the stream? He's like, yeah, dude, do what you want. Mochi is like, do whatever you want. Oh my god, look how happy this cat is. What a chonkerton. He's just chilling and purring and getting licked by Miles. Oh, are you gonna lick him back, Mochi? That's nice of you. You can give Miles some kiss. Okay, Miles. Don't put his whole head in your mouth. That's rude. Crowdfunding for the Velvet Spider. Oh my god, I almost forgot. But I do have the stuff for it. I could buy one. We could have a new spider, you know. Dude, I'm so sorry. I can't start the stream because my animals are being too cute. Okay, Miles. Wow, that's a lot of hair. Do you need a hug, buddy? You know he does. Alright, let's do the thing where you push me across the entire room. Oh, wow. We stopped here today. No, here we go. Who's a good baby? Good boy. All right, go on. You're good. Go on. Go cuddle your brother. Go on. Thank you. And that was the pet tax portion of the show. The part where I get to cuddle my animals as a job and I pretend like I'm doing it exclusively for you. Yay! Oh my god. Anyway, next pet. I could go get the other cats, but one of them is literally actively working out a hairball, so I'd rather not risk that. The other one, I could go get Cora. If the cat is really what you want, we could go get Cora. I'm not gonna make Parker get up, okay? I'm not gonna do that to the old man. He's on the couch. He's in a good place, you know? But I can run and go get a cat if need be, or I can save Cora till the end. We were all fooled by the pet tax. How did I fool you? What? Oh, you mean the intentions? Yeah. Look, impact's all that matters, not intent. All right. I know, I wish we could give Parker the uppies, quite frankly. My son can. My son can just, whoop, whole 100-pound dog, just boop. Miles loves Mochi, and vice versa. Like, Mochi does groom Miles as well when he can reach him. Okay. More double standards. I was just about to say, Katie, that's so funny. I was literally just about to say, okay, let's get back into double standards. And then I read your comment. I was like, yes, Katie, yes, more double standards. So for this next one, since we're switching to a different platform, I just want to make sure that I can pull it up as cleanly as it can possibly look. There we go. All right, this one, we're moving into the Reddit section of the show. Was posted to r/legal, and it reads, "Wife wants me to sign this." Let's take a look. So this is what we are looking at is just a form. It appears to have been presented already, or prepared, already, perhaps by a firm. And this is as I said, a divorce petition. There's even, you would hope that this might be on all of these forms, but this literally comes with a warning to respondent. Without the advice and help of an attorney, you may be putting yourself, your property, and your money at risk. Then provides resources for if they need an attorney. If you are the victim of DV, or if at any time you feel unsafe, you can get confidential help from the National Domestic Violence Hotline. And then they provide some other resources. This appears to be happening in Texas based on these resources. Instructions to respondent. If you decide to use this form, do not sign it until at least 1 day after the original petition for divorce has been filed. If you sign this form before then, you will have to redo it. Your spouse should have given you a copy of the original petition for divorce. Oops, sorry about that. The divorce court stamp on your copy will tell you when it was filed. Fill out this form completely. You must include your mailing address. In later comments, he states that he has not gotten the official petition for divorce yet. And then other instructions. And this is kind of what the last of it looks like. It basically says that you're agreeing that you received the original petition for divorce, either by constable, sheriff, or other official process server. By the way, fun piece of advice. I do not believe that you are allowed to serve a divorce petition yourself. I don't think that you're allowed to just hand it to your spouse. I actually, there's a creator named Sammy Head who plays a satirical mom caricature. Like, it's obviously a joke. Like, obviously no one would actually name their children Incisor or their youngest daughter Harold, you know? And so, like, we were brainstorming, like, funny bits she could add to this idea, and I was like, you should put, like, the divorce papers, like, in like a random drawer of the kitchen and just like constantly use them to threaten your husband. Like, this is us thinking of like the worst possible character, by the way. Like, I literally, but as it turns out, you cannot just serve your spouse yourself. And now that I'm thinking about it, of like people I've known who have gone through divorces, like, yeah, you can have like your friend do it, but you can't do it yourself. You can self-serve in many states. Interesting. I guess make sure you know. Make sure you get your legal counsel. That's kind of the whole point of what we're looking at here. And so you're basically, what this seems to be is a form agreeing to be there for the divorce hearing. Now, this is crazy that she's just like, hey, can you just fill this out real quick? Like, what a casual way of asking for a divorce. And like, you can tell so much from just a little bit of information that we've gotten. All this user says is, wife wants me to sign this without the copy of the original divorce. She's serving it to me herself. First of all, you're still calling her your wife, which, like, is legally true, but, like, it just makes me wonder so much about the situation, like, whether or not he's, like, on board, how long he's known about this. I'm so glad this person came to Reddit to ask, though, because basically he is simply agreeing, like, yeah, I'll show up to the divorce hearing. And if you're, like, under duress, confused, or disenfranchised for any reason, and your wife is just like, listen, like, things aren't working out, let's just get a divorce, like, I'll handle everything, it'll be totally fair, like, just sign this really quick. Like, some guys might just be like, honestly, I trust her when she says that she's, like, not trying to screw me over or anything, but, like, all this is him saying, yes, I'll be there. But without seeing anything listed, she could have put stuff like, I get the house, I get the car, he pays alimony, he pays child support, all the assets go to her, like, or if she's, like, the main earner, she could make it so that he never can file for alimony, make it so, you know, like, he doesn't have access to certain things. You definitely need to be able to see that entire thing beforehand. And so, you know, even being as charitable as we possibly can, like, well, maybe she just, you know, maybe she really did just honestly fill it all out herself and just wants to be helpful or something. Like, does this survive the gender swap test? If a man just showed up to his wife and was like, hey, can you just sign this divorce paper real quick? You don't have to see, like, any of the nitty-gritty details. Do you know how many nitty-gritty details are involved in a divorce? Dude, there was once a divorce case where this couple was being so petty with the division of assets that they literally dumped out an entire bag of Beanie Babies in the courtroom, one of the family's prized possessions, this Beanie Baby collection, and the judge had them literally, like, King Solomon style, cutting the baby in half, like, take turns picking one Beanie Baby one by one. Family court is insane, and definitely not simple, definitely not easy. Like, I do have some friends who have had pretty clean divorces, honestly. It can happen, but even, like, trying your hardest, there's still so much to do and so much to read through, and it's so in your best interest to review all of that stuff. Okay? Like, these are, like, your lifelong assets, everything that you're worth. And, like, there's a lot of marriage misconceptions. Like, I don't care what you think the laws are in your state as far as, like, at what year point does it really become half and half. The common assumption in most courtrooms is the second you're married, it's all, everything you own is now half-half. Unless you have, like, maybe unless you have a prenup, but to be honest, most prenups are thrown out. And here's another kicker. Did you know that, like, just like they don't have to grant your marriage if they don't think that it's good enough, and they don't have to grant your divorce. They could be like, no, not good enough, not a good enough reason, I don't believe you. They can do that. Isn't that crazy? And people think, like, you're just gonna sign off, like, literally sign your life away without reading the fine details. I don't think this passes the gender swap test, because I don't think it passes any sort of test. I think if y'all out here just serving people plain old divorce papers, telling them, don't need to read that, just agree to it, you're crazy. Aaron says, Beanie Babies have gone for hundreds and thousands of dollars, so I understand completely. Yeah, no, it's my understanding that the total collection may have been worth up to like $24,000. Could you, so like, think about that. That's so crazy, because that means, like, it's like the craziest Mario Party of economics at that point. Like, you have to really remember, like, which ones, like, that was the extremely limited edition Christmas bear. Like, you gotta play it right. Gambling. Oh man, but yeah, Reddit can be an absolute cesspool. It is known. There is no confusion or questioning that. Like, we all agree that Reddit can be like 4chan's slightly cuter cousin on a good day. It can be kind of the bad place, but also Reddit has, like, solved so many crimes and, like, resolved a lot of issues, to be honest. Like, caught a lot of cheaters, gotten a lot of, like, terrible employers fired. Like, there's been some good work done on Reddit. And I think every single person who was like, bro, don't sign anything, did a net good for society and for everybody who learned from that post. You know what I mean? Oh, the collection was valued at 2.5. That's the number I might have been thinking of. Instead of 24,000, I might have been thinking like 2.4. Yeah. The judge definitely made that whole decision to be petty. He was trying to make a point. Like, if you're going to be this obnoxious in my courtroom, I'm going to make it obnoxious for everybody, which is exactly my type of chaotic neutral, quite frankly. Okay. Are you ready for another story in today's episode of Double Standards? Does it pass the gender swap test? This one was posted to Am I the A-hole? Okay. Am I the a-hole for publicly humiliating my wife at her workplace after discovering her affair? I will say this. Already dipping my toes in the gender swap water, the girlies love humiliating a cheater. It is like one of the #1 pastimes of Western women culture. So I don't know how much joy men generally take out of embarrassing cheating women. I know that you guys certainly do not like them, but very seldom do you guys like make a point of outing her and doing these like theatrical displays of outing their behavior. Not as often, I would say. But tell me if I'm wrong. We'll read. I don't even know where to begin. My wife, Leah, a 43-year-old, and I have been married for 10 years. We have 2 beautiful children, our 5-year-old son and our 2-year-old daughter. So, by the way, to everybody who is like, can you have healthy kids into your late 30s and early 40s? It's happening. It's happening a lot more often lately. He says, I thought we were happy, or at least I thought we were trying. But 4 weeks ago, my entire life came crashing down. I, a 46-year-old male, started to notice when she was glued to her phone more than usual. This is always one of like the earliest signs, I feel like. Leah has always been private, but this was different. She'd smile at her screen, then immediately lock it when I walked into the room. One night, after she fell asleep, I couldn't resist. I checked her phone. Oh, whoop! I know a lot of you guys hate that. A lot of you guys are like, never! Never do it! Some of you are absolute never check absolutists. I love that for you, but you know me. I'm a, if there's smoke, check for fire, is my motto when it comes to checking. What I found still makes me sick to my stomach. There were messages with a coworker, Eric, 48 male, going back years. Explicit texts, photos, promises of love. Oh God, I will say this. I think it's so much easier to forgive if it was just like you like made out with someone or just like briefly physically engaged in something, but it's like I get so much more triggered by like long-term emotional affairs. That's when like I like really start to lose it. I'm like, oh my God, you kept this going. Because it's like I was saying earlier when I was talking to Sarah, my cheating friend, about that horrible feeling that will live in your stomach day after day, and that constant anxiety that will burden your shoulders of like constantly looking over your shoulder, waiting for the other shoe to fall. Like, knowing that some people are able to just live like that and continue to live these double lives and continue in these behaviors that they know would devastate the same person that they claim to be building a life with. I just can't even understand it. And like then when they try to make excuses for it is when I truly like want to scream. Okay. So he goes through the phone, he finds this, even references to secret trips that they'd taken while I was at home with the kids, believing she was working late. Oh my God, yeah, because at this point, I'm spiraling. I'm like, I can't even trust myself now. Like, I'm trying to do entire timelines in my head. I'm trying to piece everything together. I'm trying to be like, wait a minute, so when I was here, she was really, oh my, wait, so if I was here, was she even here? Like, I'm questioning everything. I don't even know if I can trust myself anymore. Like, am I an idiot? Like, that's what's going through my head. My heart was racing, my hands were trembling. I confronted her the next morning. At first, she denied it, said I was misunderstanding. But then I read her the messages out loud, verbatim, word for word. Her face crumbled. She admitted it. She said it started 4 years ago, long before our oldest was born. Oh my God, my stomach just like sank through my uterus. Like, oh God, the bad feeling is bad. She tried to justify it, saying you were distant, we were struggling. Oh God, this is exactly what I was saying. I'm like, it's this, and then it's the excuses that sends me. It's the fact that you literally cheated for 4 entire years, and it's his fault. But nothing could excuse this. I started digging deeper. I followed her to work one day, needing to see it for myself. We do love to torture ourselves, don't we? Sure enough, after her shift, she walked out arm in arm with Eric. They didn't even try to hide it. They got into his car and drove off. I followed them to a restaurant where they sat like a happy couple, laughing, holding hands. It broke me. What shattered me completely was when I learned they'd built their own life together. They'd been renting an apartment near work, a place where she'd go when she was working overtime. I saw them go inside, watching them from my car parking on the streets a few blocks away. I checked on them for about 4 nights, and they had the same routine. Where are the kids during all of this? I hope to God these kids are not just like sitting on the back seat and he's just like, just play on your iPad, kids. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Like, this whole situation sucks. That's when I snapped. I packed all of her belongings, everything she owned, into the back of my car and drove to her workplace the next morning after spying on them. I know I did wrong. When she walked out, I dumped everything right there on the sidewalk in front of her and her coworkers. I told her she wasn't coming home. Since then, I filed for divorce and I'm fighting for the full custody of the kids. She's begging me to forgive her, saying she doesn't want to lose the family we built. But how can I? Friends and family keep asking me if I regret how I handled it, publicly humiliating her, kicking her out without notice. I do. She tore our family apart, and the least she could do is face some accountability, but I can't help but feel like the bad guy or for how I acted. I had nights where I felt very lonely, and I miss her. Of course, I'm also attending therapy sessions to be better for the kids and for myself. All I care about are them. They don't deserve this chaos, and as much as it hurts, I know they are better off with me than someone who could live a lie for so long. Am I the a-hole? Does it survive the gender swap test? You know what's so interesting is, like, obviously I have such a unique perspective on the technicality of how all of this was handled, and so I just want to address a lot of things gender regardless. However, I feel like the gender thing needs to be addressed, because when a woman finds out that her man is cheating on her and she freaks out, embarrasses him, throws all his stuff out on the lawn, files for divorce and files for full custody, everyone's kind of just like, yeah, of course. This is like one of those situations with, like, with this situation, of course it survives the gender swap test. It doesn't survive itself. It only survives as the gender swap, because when you're a man, even though you're doing the same exact thing that women have wrote like anthems about doing, you still feel bad about it. You're still the bad guy as a man for doing that. Isn't that crazy? It only survives the gender swap test. It doesn't survive on its own. Isn't that crazy? He's already, like, down bad about this whole thing. He feels terrible. He did everything right, in my opinion, and still feels awful now. Okay, he didn't do everything right. And I'll tell you where. After this super chat. Doom for Zombies, thank you so much, says, silver lining is for single people who see couples and get mad or jealous at the wholesomeness. They might be cheaters, which is always a mess. That, you know, that is true. Single people get to go to bed every night knowing for sure they're not getting cheated on. Think about that. Enjoy that privilege. Oh my God. So this is where he did go wrong. I'm honestly all about, like, dumping her out at her work and exposing her to her coworkers. As chaotic as it is, and as much as it could, like, ultimately harm the family, like, I'm not that mad about it. I wouldn't encourage it. I wouldn't, like, tell someone, go out and do this. But it's like the rage that I would feel after a 4-year-long affair, and you want me to just be completely quiet about it. Like, I don't know. I can understand someone snapping, finally. I get that. The only problem is you can't kick your spouse out. You legally can't do that. Even if they're, like, your roommate, you can't just kick someone out. Like, there's laws, and you have to know them, and you have to make sure, like, you're following the legal process. You have to properly evict them. You can't just kick people out. So, just general advice, I would just advise against doing that, because you could be screwing yourself over if you do that, quite frankly. It's also like whatever home you're living in is a marital asset. You can't just remove marital assets. You know what I mean? You can't even, like, you're legally not even supposed to keep people from the marital assets during a divorce. It's messy, okay? So I don't think he even had the legal right to kick her out. And that might come back to bite him during the divorce and custody proceedings. I also disagree with him filing for sole custody. That might surprise you guys, but it is consistent with what I've always said in these situations, man or woman, is did having a 4-year-long affair absolutely warrant filing for divorce? Absolutely. Does it mean that he's more fit for sole custody and that she should be turned into an every other weekend visitor in her children's lives? Not necessarily. Now, you could potentially build a stronger case based on the details of the affair. Was she recklessly channeling money away from the family and towards this affair? If so, I firmly believe that it is fair to take any funds that were spent on the affair and demand that the spouse receive retribution to the same amount. To anything that can be fiscally proven to be tied to the affair, I think that it should count toward the aggrieved spouse. My personal opinion, if you get married to someone, you are swearing yourself monogamously to this person. Now, if you want to have your own rules that you make up and turn it into a polygame, as long as everybody in the relationship consents, do whatever you want. But what marriage was originally intended for, if you see the ring, what it's supposed to mean is you're only fucking the other person who has the other ring. That's what it's supposed to mean, okay? So, just originally, if you guys want to have your own thing, have your own thing, but this is what it's supposed to be. And what that also means is that your financial obligations are to that person and your family. So in my opinion, if you want to have the mojo to go around having these multiple affairs or whatever, you need to make sure that your spouse is not losing any money, that they are equally matched, at least. Doom for Zombies, thank you for another generous super chat. My mom has a legal trick up her sleeve with her ex, who still lives with her. That being a restraining order. Yes, it's a complicated mess. I cannot tell you how often I love to listen in on the Zoom court hearings locally whenever I can. It's like I just love a good train wreck once in a while, and I cannot tell you how many of these cases I'll listen in on where they'll be like, okay, and just like keep meeting up, but there's literally like one of them has an active restraining order against the other one, but they still like meet up at each other's houses for exchanges, or like they're still dating, and I'm like, this is so messy. And don't get me wrong, I understand like DV situations are complex. It takes an average of 7 times for someone to leave a DV situation. I understand that. But it is wild to watch. Okay? It is wild to watch. You know? Okay. God, I don't even know what's going on with chat. I just tried to peek at it. I'm like, infighting? Stop. Calm down. Okay, can someone find out if Sarah has an OnlyFans? Is that what this is? Are you like trying to bait my chat into going to your like sex worker page? Is that what's happening right now? Am I getting my first OF troll? Is this baby's first sex worker invader into my chat? It happens a lot with like comment bots, but I've never had someone come in on a live before. But like, I'm also not fully hating because, like, you gave me money, you know what I mean? That was very kind of you. I'm trying to figure out, like, is this part of a grift? Is this part of a greater grift? Wait, I'm confused. I don't even know who's assuming whose gender. Baiting is what got her into trouble in the first place. Oh my... Oh? Mods beerus them. Oh my god. I missed something too, dude. All my speed reading practice has not prepared me for this. Also, son, how are you still listening to this? Do you just have like a bunch of free periods? I understand a lunch. How are you back? Me getting into Hank Hill mode. Bobby, get to class. Okay. Yeah, Sarah, you are on thin ice. Why would you think I'm a sex worker? Because a lot of OnlyFans workers and like cam models do right now is to draw in an audience very rapidly. You have to stand out. It's not enough to just get naked. You have to be controversial and then get naked. That's like the whole grift that's going on lately. Some of them are also actually sneaking into men's health issue spaces. So they'll be like, I care about men's problems, and I know the best way to solve your mental health crisis, divorced dads. It's to look at my butthole. And like, I swear to you, it's a whole pipeline. It's like, and so what they do is they find channels like mine that has like a heavy male audience, which is like the audience they're trying to cater to. And then they sneak in the chat and they start replying to different comments, and they'll be like, wow, Rob, you're so right. You should message me about that. You've seen these. And then you find out that like she just has one. You know what I'm saying? So it's, yeah, I just gave her a whole strat, dude. She wasn't good. She wasn't doing it before, but now she's going to. I love my son in the chat just said, damn you, capitalist dystopia. How woke is my kid right now? How based is the Sunvocate, dude? I'm such a proud mom. Dude, this is like me last week when I let TJ like explain all of the various RPGs, and I was just sitting there with my coffee like, based fam is based. Oh man. Okay, we've got time. Oh wait, I forgot. There's an update. There's an update to the wife who had the affair. I almost forgot about that. Okay, we'll get into that. I don't even think I fully read this all the way. Oh boy. Update. Turns out my wife's affair was worse than I thought. I wish I could be surprised, but I mean, we knew it was bad. We knew it was 4 years. 4 years? Almost half a decade? Oof. Thanks to everyone who commented on my original post. I wanted to share an update about where things stand now. For those asking how I didn't notice her affair for 4 years, it's because Leah was always incredibly private. She was adamant about boundaries and would shut me down if I asked too many questions. She handled the rent, utilities, and her own expenses, while I covered groceries, the kids' school costs, internet, water, and anything extra. She claimed it was fair since we both worked, and I didn't push because I trusted her, and I didn't want to create unnecessary conflict. Looking back, I can see how I missed the signs, but at the time, I didn't think questioning her was necessary. And I mean, like, how exhausting, too, right? Like, dude, there is no day of the week that I'm trying to audit my husband's spending, go looking through every single thing and be like, you better not be going out doing anything. Like, most people, unless they have already experienced a betrayal or something hella suspicious, don't want to waste their time going through their partner's phone. That sounds so exhausting. So it's like, I really hate when people try to like blame the victim of an affair. Like, how could you not know? How could you not know? It's like, sorry for trusting my spouse. Oh, geez, I'm such an idiot, you know? Like, I should have just been cheating them or treating them like a cheater this whole time, you know? Like, I don't know, man. That, like, there's a little bit, though, where I'm kind of like, wait, you, like, never thought to look at that? Like, there's occasionally stuff like that. Like, for example, if your spouse has a social media page, like, and you never, ever look at it, like, you could be missing some stuff. I'm not saying you have to, like, audit everything your significant other posts, but, like, you should be looking at the things that your spouse does, just in general, because that is a way that a lot of these people miss being partner shamed. Is they're not on social media, and so they stop caring what their partner is posting on social media, and then little do they know they're a main character in like a weekly roasting sesh on their wife's page, you know? So like, be aware, but you don't have to be like hyper vigilant, nor should you be blamed for not being hyper vigilant. After finding out about her affair, I had DNA tests done for both the kids. My son is biologically mine, but my daughter isn't. Let me tell you something else that's rough about finding out that one of your children after multiple years is not yours is, first of all, the everything about that situation sucks all of the balls. But also, in most states, if you're married at the time the child is born, you are considered the father, period. Even outside of those states, in every state, if you sign the birth certificate assuming that your wife's baby is yours, that also cements your parentage for all eternity. Even if you get DNA tested the day after signing the birth certificate and find out the child is not yours, it doesn't matter in the eyes of the law. The only way to get out of it at that point is if the mother does contact the biological father, they do establish his paternity, and then he agrees to go to court with you side by side and transfer parentage. Like a Pokemon trade. Sarah's trolling me so hard, and at the same time, I'm like, is this like a social experiment? Is this just to prove that I'm really the whore because I'll let you troll me for a $5? Is it me? Am I the problem? It's like Sarah isn't being annoying enough for me to kick her, but she's definitely trolling me. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm like, she's exposing me, dog. She's exposing me for loving $5 bills so much that I'll like get trolled over it. Will be trolled for a $5, honestly. Like, I'm still having fun. She's not like being so bad to my audience. I mean, she did say women are bad. So like, you could argue that me accepting her money after saying women are bad is me condoning that. You could argue that. I'm still gonna take the $5 and let Sarah stay in hopes she gives me more money, though. Look, the chaotic neutral in me is chaotic neutral in. All right? I know. That's where being chaotic neutral can be bad sometimes, is like we accidentally inspire prostitution. That time on stream that I accidentally turned someone into a sex worker. Dude, do I at least get some commission now? How does this onboarding bonuses thing work? Ayo Snapchat, ayo OnlyFans, whichever one. Give me your referral code real quick. I'm kidding. Sarah, you will ruin your life. Sarah, no. Go, listen. Just go meet a nice nerdy boy outside of the Funko Pop station, and he'll probably have a decent job in IT, and you'll be fine. You don't, Sarah. No. Wait, prostitution is bad? Asking for a friend. Subjective morality. Oh my god, so derailed. Sarah's about to be derailed. Ayo! Okay, now I'm objectifying you, Sarah. That wasn't cool. I'm sorry. Dang it, Bob. Okay. So he finds out his daughter's not his. We sure know how to de-escalate a rough situation, though, don't we? That was a tough pill to swallow, but it doesn't change anything for me. I've been her father in every way that matters, and I love her like my own. I believe the person who raises a child is their real parent, and no court is going to convince me otherwise. Okay. You know, I wouldn't judge you if you tried to get out of it, but I respect your commitment. Like, the love is already established at that point. Tricked ya into fatherhood. Oh, God. Really, though, these kids deserve to know who their parents are. That's what's annoying, is it's great that you're continuing to step up, but like that every kid who has been separated from their biological parent for whatever reason will be curious about that parent. Like it's innate, it is known, it's a universal, you know? And it's like, if they know that they could have had access to that person, but it was prevented because of one of their parents' lies and need for deceit, like that's gonna cause a lot of resentment, I've got to imagine. And yes, that's what's crazy, is that here's an insane fact. One of those big, oh, so that's why she's the Dadvocate facts. Did you know paternity fraud is not illegal? Yeah, we have a word for it, but we don't have any laws about it. It is not prosecutable at all. You can prove it in its entirety, and it will not absolve you of your parental responsibilities. It will not evade the child support even. Like no one will ever be punished. You could literally have her standing in the courtroom saying, yes, I knew he wasn't the father. I knew another man was the father, and I chose to trick him into signing it on the birth certificate and taking on the responsibility. She won't face a single fine. She won't face a single day in jail. No probation. Nothing. It's completely legal. It's horrible. It's the same as how, like, there's not really perjury in family court. No one really goes after it. You can just say whatever you want in family court, and it's just up to the judge to believe you or not. No one really comes after these false allegations. They'll measure them, they'll observe that they're false, and then they'll just go, okay, so write into the record that that's false. But no one is, like, going to jail over this. This is really not happening. Yeah, how is it not illegal? If stealthing is a crime, or birth control sabotages a crime, why isn't this? And that's such a great question too. If you're not familiar with birth control sabotage, that could be anything from either party poking a hole in the condom, replacing birth control pills with placebo pills, or even some would argue lying about being on birth control. Doom for Zombies, the bigger question with an affair baby isn't whether to step up, but whether to tell the kids. I think you're completely right about that. And thank you so much for the $5. It's yeah, that would be a hard one. For me, it would not be I would never be in a situation where anyone but TJ would be the father of my children, you know. God willing, to my consent anyway, you know. This is why I do jujitsu. But like, if I was in that situation, if I was like the man or whatever, it would be a win, not if. They would know eventually, but maybe not something that, like, you need to spring on a 6-year-old, you know? All right. Let's see. What else does he say? Right now, I'm in the middle of the legal process. The divorce itself hasn't been finalized yet, but I've made it clear that I'm fighting for full custody of both kids. And again, I don't like that. I personally do not think that cheating is enough to make a parent completely non-custodial. All of the studies show that what is best for a child is equal time with both parents. That's just what's best for the in general. Now, if the children are old enough to where their opinions can be reasonably taken into consideration and they don't feel comfortable going over to their moms because of the kind of person she is, then I also believe that at a certain age, children's voice should be taken into consideration. Absolutely. Maybe not the final word, but into consideration. Okay. So I don't know if I agree with his decision to file for sole custody. But again, depending on the details of the divorce, I think I meant to get into this earlier, you could potentially make the argument for it. Like I said, if she was funneling and misappropriating family finances, especially if it came to the detriment of the children, if even there was a single solitary case where she said, hey, we have to pull the kids out of sports or out of this one sport because finances are rough, you could use that to say she was detrimenting the children by prioritizing her affair. We should have been able to afford this, but because she had to pay for an apartment to have her affair at, we weren't able to do swim classes or do travel hockey this summer. You know what I mean? That would actually be a fair case for why she should be made non-custodial. You know what I mean? If you have a good lawyer and you have the details ironclad, maybe. But in general, I believe in equal shared parenting. In general. Yeah, exactly. But if she was able to completely provide for everything else, like if she had it like that, then like financially you can't argue much there. She should be the one paying though, I'll say that. Ice for Eyes, thank you for the 5. We need there to be laws pertaining to lies, libel, and slander, but there's no power behind them anymore, and there needs to be. I completely agree. I don't know why they don't pursue more perjury in family court. We literally know that false accusations spike from about 10% to at least 30% once the accusations enter a family court custody situation. Increases 3 times the chances of a false allegation being made when the child is involved. And of course it does. You're activating people's mama and papa bear and telling them only one of you is going to come out of here the parent, the other one's going to come out a visitor. Of course everyone's going to start slinging mud. The way that our family court exists right now, it's built for us to destroy each other, dude. That's why I like equal shared parenting. It really, when things are set off on more of an equal shared or an even playing field, it's gonna, in my opinion, and in all of the studies and history I've seen with the states that have passed it, it reduces conflict significantly. Let's keep reading. He says, as far as filing for I provided evidence of her infidelity and the double life she led, and I've asked for full psychological evaluation of both of us to ensure the best decision is made for the kids. Okay, I like that. Sometimes there's really only one parent who's demonstrated enough behavior to warrant the test. You don't always need to do it on both, especially if you don't need to be paying so much for those, because they're expensive. It's like $5,000 for a psychological evaluation, even with insurance, dude. But it's nice of him to even offer that just to ensure on his own end that he's really doing best by his kids. I'm also working on showing the court that I've been the primary caregiver emotionally and financially. Oh, so he is paying for everything? Oh my God. Bro got so cooked. He mentioned something earlier about how she paid some of the bills, but it seems as though he has a strong case that he's paying the majority of them. Because the original situation, the way that they had done it, it sounds like super similar to the way that like TJ and I have done it in the past, is like you do water, I'll do energy and electric, or like the various ways that we have divvied things up in the past. Like that seems fairly normal. But if he can prove that he's been the main financial head honcho, that's so scary. Like because what could happen is if she decides to like quit her job before child support is calculated, for example, he could still end up paying her. She could still like try to fight for alimony. Oh God, these get so awful. To those who said my story sounded fake, I get it. Every story on Reddit is fake. This is the kind of nightmare you think only happens in movies or to someone else. I wouldn't believe it either if I wasn't living it. All I can say is I hope you never go through something like this. It destroys everything you thought you knew about your life. That's exactly what I said. I would be spiraling. For now, I'm staying focused on my kids and doing everything I can to give them a stable and loving home. Dude, you know what's so crazy? Is if any of you guys saw my reacting to family court situations stream and saw the one about the dad who's getting accused of like truancy and pulling his kids out of school to go become actors or whatever, who like sits and just silently takes it the entire time, and then I later found out that like he's following me on social media, so I got a chance to talk to him. I promised him that I would not, like, share his whole story, but I will tell you, it's very similar to this one. Extremely similar. And so it's like, imagine this happening to you, and then she goes on social media and starts blasting you. This is why I'm the Dadvocate. This is why. This is why we have the entire office dedicated to this. Why we have the sign. Why I have the registered trademark. Because this is not the first father who has been dragged and publicly humiliated and ostracized and alienated and presented to be the worst type of monster ever, all while stepping up for and financially providing for chronic cheaters who give them non-biological children to be responsible for. Doing everything right for the wrong person. And receiving none of the empathy because man. What's crazy is, like, there are a lot of people who are convinced that there are no male exclusive issues too. Like, there are people who are like, well, there's nothing that men are going through really that women aren't going through worse. This is like a constant unnecessary talking point by a lot of feminists who are clearly, like, not well versed enough in what feminism means to understand that if we're both having problems, they're probably entwined with each other, and helping each other with them will probably help ourselves, right? It's such a common talking point, and yet this is just picture proof that there are certainly male exclusive problems, right? Like, because how did we even get here? By being a man, first of all. At being a woman, I will always know with 100% certainty that the baby that comes out of me is mine. I will never have to worry about viscerally offending someone to the point that they think about divorcing me by asking if the baby is mine. I will never have to worry about those things. Now, by virtue of the same coin, you guys will never have to worry about getting pregnant. But what's almost scarier, in my opinion, as a able to get pregnant and has been pregnant woman, what's almost scarier than the thought of getting pregnant, and getting pregnant is super fucking scary, let me just tell you. Being pregnant is scary. Having the baby is scary. But what's almost scarier is the concept that you could get someone else pregnant and then have no control at all. Give me the morning sickness every day. Give me the broken rib cage. Give me the C-section. Give it all to me. I'll do it all over again before I would ever want my child able to just go to a completely different country, just gone. As soon as it's conceived, just completely, irreversibly out of my hands. Dude, if another bro signs the birth certificate before I do, I would have to go to war to even get dibs on my own kid. That's so terrifying to me. Like, I'm sorry. I understand that women are, we do have our areas in society that we're treated more unfairly. Absolutely. There are so many good points that feminism has tried to tackle. You know what I mean? There's a lot of good things that the concept of feminism and fighting for women has done for us. We just sent the 100th woman to outer space, Miss Emily Calandrelli of Emily's Wonder Lab. I cried. It was beautiful. Okay? We love the women. But to say that there are not, like, male exclusive issues, I will never have to worry about accidentally raising my husband's affair baby. That is never going to be something that happens to any woman. Like, the odds of, okay, For those of you who are like, well, actually, the affair partner could be secretly working for the hospital that you delivered it and sneakily swap the babies out. Fine. Fine. I'll give you that 0.0000012% odds. It could happen. Okay? But for the most part, no, there's certainly male exclusive issues. And I mean, like, I quote these statistics all the time, but I will not stop quoting them until we get equal shared parenting in our country. 45 out of 50 states, an unmarried mother just instantly gets sole physical and legal custody. In 45 out of 50 states. It's Arkansas, Missouri, Florida, and 2 others. I can't remember which ones at the moment. But those are the only ones that have a just automatic presumption that the custody should have equal time split. Unless some shit's going down, which is the way it should be. There should be rebuttal opportunities in case of extreme circumstance, as I always advocate for. But what that means is, like, really think about the math and how crazy this is. So in most states, the grand majority of states, if 2 parents are not married, mom just is parent and dad just is a visitor off the cusp. You want to know how many kids are born to unmarried parents in our country? 25% of them. So every 1 in 4 kids is very likely automatically shoehorned into this little box of only being able to see their dad every other weekend. Okay? And so people try to argue that, oh, well, mothers also have bias in family court. And if you really look at the data, dads win most of the time when they ask for custody. You guys just aren't asking. This is a huge talking point that, like, very sometimes well-intentioned people use. But what they're not considering is the fact that women don't even have to file. The only people who even have to ask are men. So it's automatically radically different. There are no mothers who have to ask if they can parent their own kids. Unless the baby's born with crack in its system. Then you might have to ask, and guess what? Odds are you'll still get your baby back quicker than a drug-free, non-custodial father will. Like, be so real. This is a true place of inequality between the sexes. And what's more, what that math additionally means is that of these 25% of kids who get pretty much just relegated to having their dad be an every other weekend visitor, they're only seeing this man 4 days of the month. That's 20% of the year. Do you know what that means? That means by the time these children turn 10, they will have lost 8 years with their dad. That 10-year-old will have spent only a collective amount of time of 2 years with their father. And we don't want to address head on how we ourselves are causing fatherlessness through our own court systems. We don't want to talk about that. It's extremely frustrating to me. And like, what's so frustrating too is that I don't even know if we'll be able to get to all the nitty gritty of family court, like the deep stuff, like making paternity fraud illegal and making it so that if we find out that you lied about who the baby's father was knowingly, you should have to pay back the child support. Like, that stuff is so far away because with family court legislation, you have to piecemeal everything. So like before we can even get into child support reform, we have to handle equal shared parenting for unmarried fathers first. And then we can get into the next issue. Then we can get into no more license suspension and jailing for delinquent child support because it's the only debtor's prison we still have left in America. Like, there's still so much more to do. there's still so much more to do, but obviously that's my full-time job. I stay obsessed with reforming family court 24/7. I live, breathe, eat, and sleep family court reform. So whatever the problems are, I'm aware of them. I'm aware of them, and I know what needs to be done to get things moving. And luckily, thanks to you guys, I am constantly building a bigger and bigger platform through which to get these things done. But it is going to take time, dude. You should have to pay it back even if you didn't know either way. Honestly, it, like, truly, because, like, I really hate, I don't like mom shaming, I don't like slut shaming, you know what I mean? But at the same time, if you feel shame because you literally don't know who your kid's dad is, I don't know what to tell you. That's the kind of life choice that, like, literally, again, unless we're talking about a non-consensual event, okay? Obviously, that is completely different. We're talking, you were just reckless as all hell with that starfish. That was the wrong hole, actually. You were reckless as all hell with that coochie thing, okay? Reckless as all hell with the punani, okay? Although I will say, I actually have a core memory, and I haven't been able to stop thinking of this since. There was one time, this was like before videos were like going viral, and I didn't see anybody recording it, but it happened so long ago. Maybe someone was recording it. I don't know. But I will never forget this time that I was at a Kohl's, like just buying some clothes. I might not have even been buying clothes. I might have just been with someone who was buying clothes. But this girl comes busting out of a bathroom and starts wailing on her boyfriend, going, "You told me I couldn't get pregnant from anal!" There was so much to process for me in that moment. And, like, once I made sure he was okay, like, they were separated, which, like, I didn't do myself. Luckily, some Kohl's employees were, like, kind of on it right away, which I really appreciated. But, like, I immediately after was like, can you? It's one of those very contested things, like if it happens in a hot tub or whatever and it's like floating around, could it like somehow get up in there? And like, generally the answer is no, but like it really sent me spiraling. Like if it like trickled down, maybe like could there still be a transfer of power, so to say? Some seepage. Yes, Victoria, thank you. That's the word we were all looking for. Was from the seepage. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I don't even know what triggered that memory, but oh my god. While I'm on this like random squirrel brain tangent, before I go, I mentioned this on Threads, and it's definitely time for you guys to hear it. It's just like, whenever I think of like an insane story that's happened to me, I'm like, I gotta tell chat. And like, I just thought of this one that I have not thought of in forever, but I cannot believe that I have never told you guys the story of the time that I met a real life Nazi and then convinced his girlfriend to break up with him. Would you like to hear it? Would you like to hear this this canon event of Dadvocate lore? I shall tell it to you anyway, regardless of whether or not you would like to hear it. I don't need your consent because you have the ability to hit the little red X, so it's happening. I'm going to blast you with the story. Okay. So, when was this? I'm trying to think of an exact timeline, but it was definitely, I was dating TJ. We were not married yet. And it was one of those like situations where this guy who I'm gonna give him kind of a pseudonym, but not really, just in case anybody else happens to like meet a Nazi with such a similar name and you're like, I actually know who you're talking about. It's entirely possible because it's not a small population, and they're kind of like indigo children. Like, you know how every lesbian knows every other lesbian? Like, every Nazi, I shouldn't compare lesbians to Nazis. That's not what I meant to do. If there's no Venn diagram, okay? No, there had to have been at least one lesbo Nazi, don't you think? At least one. Anyway, all the Nazis know each other, okay? I've got to imagine. Anyway, so this guy, we'll call him Chris Penis because that's very close to what his last name sounded like, and that's just what we'll call him. He ends up on my friends list. This was like in like the Facebook days where like any time you even like remotely went to a party or like went to a party with someone else who went with a party, you were just kind of adding people willy-nilly as long as you had enough mutuals, you know? And so I occasionally saw this guy's posts show up. And I noticed him posting these like weird cryptic things about like, oh, you guys aren't even ready to handle JQ. And at the time, there was like so many weird conspiracy theories out there. And I was like really captivated even back then by like people who were into really bizarre conspiracy theories. And so I went into like pseudo-investigative journalism mode where I was just like, hey, I like slid in the DMs. I was like, what are you talking about? What is this? And he's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if you really want to hear about this because like a lot of people are really sensitive to it, and like, you know, I don't even know if you're ready. And I was like, no, it's fine. You can tell me. Like when black people try to trick you into saying the N-word, and they're like, no, you can say it. You can say it, and indeed, you cannot say. Don't say it. Like that was me. I'm like, no. You can tell me it. What is it? Just tell me. He goes, so JQ stands for the Jewish question. I'm like, what? What's the Jewish question? Do you want to know what the Jewish question is? It's whether or not there should be Jews. It's just the new Nazi dog whistle. And I'm like, oh. And so he just starts to like Nick Fuentes out a little bit. He's like, well, you know, because they're responsible for all of the bad things and they control the media. And I'm like, I've known about the Jewish question for quite a while. There's an entire documentary about it on YouTube. Well, listen, I think blissfully the average person is like pretty unaware of this stuff. But essentially, that was what I started to find out. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I was just doing my thing, and I'm like, tell me more. And I'm like, I'm going to get this motherfucker to incriminate himself as much as possible. At the time, I didn't have a platform. It's not like I had a way of like exposing this dude or anything. But part of it was like genuine, like aghast curiosity. And also like, I'm going to need this documented historically for something. Like, I just know I am. If this dude becomes the next Dylan Roof, I have the receipts. Like, I'm ready. I will need this for something, okay? And so I wish I could remember like all of the details that led from like point A to point B to point C. But at some point, after like this conversation, I'm like, let me look back at who our mutuals even are, because how in the world did I get accidentally linked up with a full-on Nazi? So I'm looking through our mutual friends, and at the time, my absolute maid of honor best friend, who is also named Lauren, who is now completely scrubbed from social media and is now basically living the trad wife life on a farm in BFE, and I absolutely love every moment of it for her and her ducks. At the time, she was on there. And I message her, I'm like, bro, how do we know this Nazi? How has this crept into my Ukrainian ass realm? And she goes, oh, is this real? Is this, you're shitting me, you're messing with me. And I send her the receipts, as I told you I would need. And she's like, oh my God, he's dating my sister. And I'm like, not for long, he's not. And so we had to do like a full on, like, honey, sit down. You're not gonna like what we're about to tell you. It was the worst intervention I think anyone's ever been a part of. And unfortunately took a little bit too much convincing. Okay, but I guess we can't be surprised here. Like, I always talk about how denial is one hell of a drug, and people's first instinct to hearing something terrible, that their significant other cheated on them, that their child did something incredibly cruel, your first instinct is to believe literally anything else. It's to say, you must have gotten something wrong. There must be a miscommunication or a misunderstanding. You will do mental gymnastics to get you anywhere away from the truth. And I get that. Apparently that even goes for having all of the receipts that you need, that your boyfriend's a Nazi and like literally wants an entire population of people, one of the biggest populations of people, and the longest lasting throughout history population of people, to just not exist. Yeah, that's not good. And can I also just mention, it's so fucking lazy to hate Jews. It is. It's id lowest common denominator level thinking. Oh yeah, you're gonna take the population of people who's existed the longest, the population of people that everyone historically has always blamed for everything. You're just gonna also do that? Old hat. Come on, get some new material, okay? Get a little creative, all right? Boring! So yes, eventually, the story goes on. Eventually she does break up with him, and TJ was relishing in this. Okay, TJ was absolutely loving the part of the story where his girlfriend gets a Nazi dumped by his girlfriend. TJ, like, if I had not secured the bag before then with, like, making him a whole ass video game, a whole ass cartoon, like, all of that, then surely by the time that I, like, kind of defeated a Nazi was when I was, like, in with that man, you know? But TJ got a little too crazy. TJ got a little too excited, is what I meant to say. TJ got a little too excited and forgot that Nazis are crazy. And, you know, when Chris Penis was posting sad breakup statuses, TJ might have egged things on and antagonized a little bit by saying things like, ha 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 ha, that's what you get, you fucking Nazi, and like things like that, like things that you say to a Nazi when they've just gotten dumped for being a Nazi, like you do. What none of us really thought of or were expecting, even though we maybe should have, was that Chris Penis then began electronically flashing his pew-pew to TJ and literally threatening his life through Facebook Messenger. So we decided to not engage further with the Nazi. We decided to just let that go. We looked into, like, is there a list we can add people to? So you know how there was, like, a list for all the, like, insurrection people, how they, like, had created an entire database even though it didn't end up mattering, you know? Like, is there, like, you think, like, actively practicing? I think there should be. I'm okay with that, honestly. Name and shame the Nazis. And like, if you want to get off that list, you gotta decry being a Nazi. All you have to do is just be like, no, I'm not with them, and I'll accept it, you know? But if you can't simply say, I am not a Nazi, you probably deserve to take a very long nap at the bottom of a deep pool of water. You know? Is that fair? Is that fair to say? We didn't call the cops. There's nothing you can really do. Actually, about the threat, what did we do about that? I think we did report it, actually. It was so long ago. It was like 8 years ago. I think we did report it, because I know we were kind of freaking out about that. But I just don't think much happened. I don't think much came from it. The problem is when you lump all those people who aren't in the group for having similar opinions. Gertie, what similar opinions are you talking about? One does not accidentally get lumped in with a Nazi. I have never in my life accidentally, like, called someone a Nazi. Like, been like, oh, wait, sorry, you just meant something else similar? You just meant that you like Volkswagen Beetles. Like, that's never happened. Be so for real. Happens all the time. You say you're against illegal immigrants. They lump you in with people who want to criminalize being brown, and this is coming from a brown person. Wait. I'm confused. I'm trying to understand this. So are you saying that people are racist toward illegal immigrants? Because I agree. They are. Wait. I'm sorry. I got confused by that one. I might be in the KKK, but I ain't no Nazi. That's so funny. That is what a lot of them sound like, though. Because even this Chris Penis guy, who is very much like, yeah, I think that the white race needs to hone in and only breed with other white people. Like, even while he was saying that, he was like, but I'm not a Nazi, though. But I'm not a Nazi. No, it's not like that. I'm not like that. I just believe in white supremacy. Like, I'm not kidding you. Like, they really will try and say that. Like, that's why there's really no confusing it. Like, you can try and say you're not, but if you literally believe in white supremacy, like, there's not much denying it. There's nothing racist about saying you want people to obey the law, but it's a common straw man. Oh, I see what you're saying, how, like, people who show, like, a very potent dislike of illegal immigrants, that's kind of like a dog whistle for, like, a more lower key racism. Is that, like, what you're trying to imply? Because I would probably also agree with that. Like, if you're the kind of person who's making, like, your fear of illegal immigrants, like, one of the main talking points of your entire life, yeah, you probably are holding on to a bit of prejudice, a bit more fear-mongering is probably going on there. But, like, if you simply recognize illegal immigration as a problem, I don't think you're racist. I don't think that's racist. But yeah, I see what you're saying there, Gertie. Okay. It is at this time. We are in our final 5. So if you have anything majorly important that you need to get out of the way, Sarah, if you want to pay me more, I will take your cheater dollars. I will take your definitely not OnlyFans money. Oh my god, what a chaotic stream it's been. I believe in human stupidity too, Punslinger. I'm so glad we could come together here. Wait a sec, encouraging white people to breed with their own race is now white supremacy. Yeah, why? What reason do you have to encourage white people to only breed with other white people if that's not something you specifically believe in? Like, what like other wholesome reason would there be for you to discourage a white person from, like, pursuing love with a person who happens to not be white? I'll wait. One last thing, I dislike this guy a lot because I think he radicalized a lot of people. Who? The guy who talks about JQ? Yeah, I probably don't like him either. Dadvocate, my great-great-grandmother and grandfather came from Balaclava in Germany. Linder is one of the top Aryan bloodlines. Is that... Are you, like, trying to say, like, you're, like, proud of that? Or, like... I don't... Is that, like, something people, like, rep, like a purebred certificate. I'm related to the guy who crashed that Zeppelin. Do I get a race card? I suspect most people way underestimate the difficulty of immigrating legally. Yeah, I heard it takes like 10 years on average. It would definitely be nice if it was made a little bit easier, especially because I could be wrong, but it's my understanding that our population almost relies on immigration for maintaining the population, because we're not breeding enough. Our breeding kink is not strong enough in our country. I do think it's racist when other races only encourage I shouldn't say inbreeding, but breeding within their own race. I agree it's racist. I agree that if a Latino or a black person or a Native American was to say, I will look down on you if you find love outside of this color. Yes, that's also racist. I am remaining intellectually consistent in this. You are not going to get me to say, you are not going to get me to approve of any kind of racial supremacy. Sorry. You're not going to trick me into it. I love everyone's like dropping their genealogy in the chat. I'm related to the guy that kidnapped the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, if that's worth anything. It is worth something, Dylan. It's worth a big fat space on my shout out board, if I'm concerned. Yeah, I think, what a way to wrap up the stream, but, loving people who look different than you is okay. Hot take, I know, but it's actually okay if you're white and eventually your bloodline ends up with a little bit of color in it. It's okay. It's fine. It's actually probably much healthier for all of us, quite frankly. It's gonna be okay, everybody. Well, eventually all of our grandbabies will all have sick tans, and we'll all be over this. Like this is probably the whitest my bloodline is ever gonna be. Actually, yeah, but I think I'm like the last of my direct bloodline, unfortunately. But TJ's bloodline, the whitest it's probably gonna end up being for as history goes. Are any of you guys like actually scared there's not gonna be white people anymore? Is that like a fear anybody has? Isn't that crazy? Like, of all the things that we should be worried about, like our failing economy, the fact that 99% of us struggle with poverty, the fact that there's like active war times, the fact that there's mental health crises everywhere, not enough of us have access to house counseling, mental health resources, our own medicine. Like we're just now starting to make like diabetes medication even mildly affordable, and it's still hell for everybody. Like there's people out there who are like, but what if our grandbabies aren't white enough? Well, I think we'll be okay. Shout out to my very dark son in the chat. Sorry for your parents not making you white enough, kid. God damn. Oh man, I am literally so jealous of my technically stepson's skin and skin color, quite frankly. Y'all are such losers thinking pale is the only way to go. We gotta have the mix, Given that, please don't praise Lauren Southern anymore. Listen, even when I was covering Lauren Southern, I told you guys that I did not agree with her trolling, and that I certainly was not a fan of the majority of her career. But she's done a couple good things, okay? I love this. Honestly, who cares? It's the least of our problems. I agree. I just, Son, were you here for me telling the story about the time that I got a Nazi's girlfriend to break up with him? Or did you go back to class for that? Because damn it, that's one you gotta listen back for, okay? I'm not always a cool mom, but that one fateful day. Yeah, that's also quite the story about your dad, too. The time your dad was in, like, a Breaking Bad situation, basically. Did you ever know that story? Did you ever hear about the time me and your father defeated a Nazi? I'm so glad chat got to be there for that moment, that our son got to hear that story. Oh, man. Okay. It's time to go. Also, whenever you guys are like, show us your pits, I was able to conceal it this whole time, but like, if you really look, we got so sweaty. Look how bad this is. Oh my god. And I know it's because today was upper body day, and I actually like really pushed myself to my limit. I'm like, now that I'm out of PT for my torn rotator cuff, I've been really trying to get the muscle back. And like on days that I do weightlifting, I do tend to sweat a little bit more throughout the day. That's so bad. If there is ever, like, at the Streamy Awards, a sweatiest streamer, you guys better nominate the fuck out of me. Like, I'm not the best at much in life, but I am the sweatiest bitch, and I stand on that. Like, you guys cannot let me down. I want a big award that's like just the sweatiest streamer award. That's me. I'm that dog. Okay, I did promise. Let me go get a cat. I'll go get the cat you guys haven't seen in a minute. The one who's not puking. Oh. Okay, I have Cora. Oh, God. Okay, that didn't last long. She did not want to chill. She usually is the main one who wants to chill. Cora. Okay, so that left an imprint. We had a minor cat tax before she just noped her way on out of here. Miles, you want to give huggies for your camera again? Oh, who's our biggest boy? Your boy is out there. Your little boss is looking at you right now. Do you know that? I don't know anything. There is not a thought behind these eyes. Okay, Miles. Let's do some tricks. You'll get to say goodbye for the audience. Does that sound good? Let's go get some treats. Come on, let's go get some treats, and then you can do some tricks. And you can be the one who says bye-bye. Okay? Does that sound great? Does that sound like the best news of your life? You have to behave, though. Try to slow it down. Okay? No, not yet. Come here. Sit. Miles. Sit. Sit down. Shake. Good boy. And bark. All right. That's been the magical, marvelous Dadvocate show. The doggos share a brain cell. Yeah, Parker truly is big-brained, actually. He gets it. All right, everybody. That's it for lives for the week, but I do plan on recording a couple shorts. I've written some. I put one out this morning if you guys haven't seen it, contributing more back into the things people with ADHD want you to know playlist. I haven't done one of those in a while, but gotta gotta do that. Oh, Gus, you're here. Genetics will never equalize skin color. It can't. Yeah, I see what you're saying about like how some people theorize that like in 20 or 30 years everyone will be like this skin color. Yeah, there's always gonna be a ton of diversity, but there's also no fear. Like, we shouldn't have any fear of losing any of the skin colors, guys. Don't worry. And yes, no one agrees with me on everything, but we can still get along. But yeah, that's it for lives. There's still going to be content coming out though, but I hope you guys all have a super thankful Thanksgiving. Lord knows I am so thankful for you guys. This is definition my dream job, where I get to yap all day while simultaneously changing the laws for our children for the better by radically presenting legislation all over the United States. It's the best. No complaints, no notes. I will simply see you guys soon in the next one.